Are we live? Is it working this time? Uh, man, I'm such a whale at this. uh, I'm hoping I can just get to it from my phone so then I know it exists. Oh, is that it? Is that it? Am I now watching myself? Yes. Stop that. Okay, sign into the chat. I'm going to be learning as I go here. I've only done Twitch before. Okay. Just in the chat. Looks like it works. Oh, yes. I can see you. Hello, lucky you. No idea what whose people are based on the screen names, but uh, I guess I'm basically just gonna try and get into this because I feel like if the more delays I have, the worse it's gonna be if people want to watch this back later. So um, I'll interact with the chat as much as I remember to, but you know, if I'm like deep in a poker hand, there's some chance that I just forget that it's there. Uh, so yeah, everything looks all good. Basically, I've got the stream up here. I do have some hands like timestamps saved that should save me a bit of time finding the next hands, but I'm mostly just going to be skipping through. Like if I play this,
I think it's the World Cup semi-final playoff, one of the weekends.
I'm hoping you can hear like what's going on here as well. And let's put the jar up here. Move that out of the way. Okay. So yeah, I've got GTO Wizard about around here somewhere as well. So if I get this up, I can like review some hands with this. But I mostly want to focus on what I was thinking in game because this is going to be more of a live hand history review. Obviously, it's nice to know what's the theory, what could I have done, where was I right or wrong. But the gist of it is like, here's me playing a random, live 2.5K that happened to win. Here's what my thought process
The
was.
whole hotel where I usually stay is booked out. Really? Yeah.
So I'll put the commentary on sometimes, but for the most of it, I'm just going to kind of skip through to decisions. So we're here on day 2. That means late reg is closed, which is where I start considering ICM around about this point. It looks like I'm one of the biggest stacks at the table. Average stack's probably closer to, I mean, it might be close to 300,000, like 1/3 of the field left. It's usually 12.5%-ish for the field paid. I think here it was 9 paid. So some ICM, not super heavy ICM. It's still worth, going for it a little bit, fighting for some pots, trying to generate a big stack if you can, because then you're going to have a lot more leverage going forward. Let's have a look. Steve, hello. It's nice that I can actually do this live as well, because usually if I'm streaming poker, it's on a delay, so people obviously can't stream snipe me. But now I can actually just talk to people in the chat. Uh, so hand number 1, obviously standard open with ace queen suited. Don't need to talk about anything there. I guess we can talk a bit about Neil's decision. This probably could be a profitable jam. I tend not to take this, especially not in the big blind, because you close in the action, you don't need to take it as much with such a nice playable hand. He's against the cutoff as well, so he's going to dominate my, Jack 9 offsuit, Queen 9 offsuit. His hand is just like really nice in the call line, so I just don't need to bluff. Hello, Yox. I'm not going to try and even guess who some of these screen names are, but so yeah, pretty standard call from him. Queen Jack suited would be more of a jam if you're like in the small blind or if you're against an earlier position raise where you're just not quite as comfortable in the call line. Uh, Hello, Evelina. Nice to see that you've made it here. If there's anything wrong with like the audio and stuff showing up, please tell me because this is like I'm trying to learn as I go with this and hope that it's good enough that people can watch this back later. Okay. So interesting flop decision for me here, whether I want to see bet. My thoughts are basically this is a board that we can have checks. I cover him and we're kind of in an ICM situation. Uh, Hello, Noah. So basically, ace queen suited is like a value bet here. But this is a board where you could have big bets. So all these things are going around my head in game of like, do I want to bet when I've got pocket nines? Do I want to bet pocket sevens? Do I want to bet a hand like ace king or ace queen? Or do I just want to polarize and say, I've got a 10 or better already? And you can construct whatever strategy you like. Ace queen suited obviously favors a smaller bet more because then he's going to continue with hands like dominate, like ace nine, like ace jack, like king queen. So if I start betting bigger, these hands start to feel a lot more pressure immediately, and this hand isn't quite a value bet anymore. I forgot to turn the light on the trophy cabinet. All right, 1 second. Appreciate it. Where was I? So yeah, ace queen suited is definitely a value hand. If there's space for two scoops, I'll make space. Don't worry. um, yeah, I'll stop myself looking at the chat until I'm like through a hand, and I'll like go at it between hands, or if it's like more of a pause. So as you can see, like Queen Jack suited is a hand I'm going to get value from. You'd be a little bit. You don't want to bet as much if you're planning to fold to a check raise because your hand is it's too much. I've got two overs, backdoor straight draw, backdoor nut flush draw. So if I do bet ace queen suited, I'm planning to call a check raise, and that's because obviously I block really good hands. I block queen 10, I block ace 10, and if you face a check raise, the bluffs are going to be hands like he's got queen jack, queen 9, maybe a hand like ace 5 of clubs, backdoor flush draw. But if you don't think your opponent's going to check raise enough, you obviously don't. It's going to change the equilibrium a lot. So if you don't really want to be betting half pot and calling a big check raise with this hand if your opponent is obviously just not bluffing enough. So I think I'm kind of I've got a lot of thoughts through my head here, but I think I could bet small, especially in live poker where they're not going to be able to read into it as much. You can bet small with like top set as well and like balance it or pocket aces. But this one, like if I bet small, I get value. If I get face a check raise, I can call. So it's like nothing bad can happen for me. If I start betting big, maybe bad things can happen. If I check, I think good things can happen too. So I wouldn't mind a check. I don't remember what I did to be honest, which is like it's going to be a nice surprise for me. I feel like my posture is giving stuff away here. That I am clearly like thinking about what to do, and when the fact that I look like I'm thinking a little bit to me is a bit indicative of I have a hand that's got more than one option. Whereas if I've got pocket jacks there, I'm always betting. I mean, I guess the check kind of gives that away eventually anyway, but it means something. Like I think it looked like I was deciding what to do. Uh, 10 is a really nice card. Obviously, just it doesn't improve any of his hands because if he had a 10, he was already ahead. So it's like nothing changed. I think he can bet with his hand if he wants to. He can check call. He can check raise. Check call's getting a little bit dicey. But imagine I'm betting a hand like an 8 or pocket sevens. He just has a lot of outs, so I can see why he takes the initiative with his queen jack, 12,000. So he's better to bet on the small side too, but he can. Like, does he really want to start betting with ace high? Probably not. He's already saying he's got like a pair, maybe a three, maybe an eight, maybe pocket fives, although pocket fives might want to jam pre sometimes. So he's pretty much to me saying he might have an eight. Obviously, if he has a 10, he wants me to call with ace high because I'm drawing dead. So I'd probably size up a little bit, and I might be a bit more polar on the turn because like my check range has some 8x, it has pocket sevens, it has pocket nines, it has like it's pretty bolstered. I think it just gives me a little bit of an easy decision by betting so small. So yeah, I would have personally just bet a little bit bigger. Obviously, ace queen easy call. I beat all the bluffs. He's giving me a nice price with his small sizing. Uh, and now, obviously, his hand has no showdown, but I mean, his hand in a weird way has some showdown actually, because I could have the same hand. I could have queen nine. I could have jack nine. I could have 9-7. I might check back jack seven suited or like 6-7 suited. Although 6-7 suited is in a tough spot on the turn. Like there's some hands that you can be ahead of. If he is bluffing, it's kind of a tall order because he blocks like maybe my first folds, which is like ace jack, ace queen, these sort of hands. So his hand isn't like the most attractive river bluff. I think if he does bluff, he needs to go big because he's trying to tell the story that he's got an 8 or a 10. It's already like not that many good hands he can have. The turn size was more like, oh, maybe I've got a 3, but now if he's betting the river, he's basically saying like ace 8 plus, maybe even just a 10. Uh, what size has he gone? He's bet a half pot, so I think he just doesn't. I think he has too many potential bluffs. So I think I do end up calling this. Although it's obviously not the most amazing card to have a queen because that blocks bluffs. But imagine if he's always bluffing with every time he has equity, which is 6-7, 6-9, nice, 9-7, jack 7, jack 9, queen 9, queen jack. Queen jack is already pulling from like the top end of your bluffs because it's got the most showdown and that it could also play checks on the turn. So I think people just do this. Like his small bet on the turn is like I've got a 3 or better, and now this bet is like I've got an 8 or better. Yeah, he's probably could bet any eight for this size, but I think there's just too many bluffs, and some people check an eight on the turn and play a little bit more like coy. He might get greedier when he's got a 10, so I think it's pretty much just a call. Is the flop not near a range bet? It feels like you have to have showdown when you chop out the flop. You know what? Seeing as you've asked, let's bloody well find out. It might be. I mean, it's honestly looking at the spot now. I think I would have just bet small and called a raise if I had to guess. But am I gonna use ICM to solve this or Chippy V? I guess we could look at a little bit of ICM, or let's just start with Chippy V. How many bigs did he start this hand with? Let's say he started with 30, 35 bigs. If we look at 35 big Chippy V, in fact, now let's look at a bit of ICM, even though it's not going to be heaps, but 25% field's going to be more ICM than there actually is, but let's just look at it anyway. So I'm going to filter for big blind's got 35 blinds. 35 symmetrical again is not perfect. I think this one probably suits us better because we want it to be that, I cover people. I've got more. He's got more ICM pressure on him. So yeah, obviously I'm opening super wide. To be honest, I might have shaved off some of these lighter opens. Kind of depends what mood I'm in or what I think of these players, how deep they were. But for all intents and purposes, it's going to be pretty close. Yeah, this is what I spoke about pre-flop. Queen Jack suited plays too well. Jack 10 suited is more of a jam because it's crushed by more hands and it achieves more when it jams. Although you don't really see people finding these big jams with ace 2 and ace 3 off, but they might find the wrong hands, which might be pocket pairs or like bigger cards. So something we can do here is play around with the range a little bit. So I'm going to give him uh, like fill in more of these that I don't think he bluffs with. Maybe take out some of these I think he might fold. Yeah, I don't want to get too bogged down with this stuff. Like maybe nines I think he jams. Let's say Jack 10 suited he calls, 7-2 suited he folds. So I'm not gonna like go too far into this, but there's stuff you could do. Like maybe I don't open 10-6 suited, Jack 6 suited, Jack 5 suited, Queen 4 suited, something like this. But I'm not gonna get too perfect with it. I have a bunch of offsuit 10x. It's hard for you to miss the board. Yeah, you're right. It could well be that this is better suited of a range bet. 10-8 free, heart, club, spade. And I'm not going to get this granular with every hand just because it will take too long and I want to try and get through more hands if I can. Because I more want to focus on what I was thinking at the time. And before I see the output to this, um, I do want to say just because a range bet might be profitable, that doesn't mean it's what we should do. I don't know if you were here for the whole thing, Ali, but uh, I was saying earlier, like this is a board where you could have big bets. And if you want to have obviously a polarized big bet strategy, ace queen suited is going to function more nicely as a check. If you want to range bet small, I'm sure that's going to work nicely. As you can see, the solver has gone to like this massive bet and it's betting around like queen 10 plus over pairs and it's leveraging all this. Now, obviously, ace queen would be a check if we're going this polar, but you don't have to accept this as the strategy. Like this is quite a complicated strategy. I don't personally think that I'm going to be able to employ this as well as some other strategies. So let's go to a 25% bet and see how much we can bet when we choose this size. And it's a range bet, as you were saying. So looking at both of these, sometimes it is just choose your own adventure with poker. Like, what do I think people play worse against? And I do think people play very badly against range bets. And it's nice that I've got a hand that is clean against the check raise because ace queen of spades is really nice against the check raise. But it's also nice in the check line, as we saw it. Like, if I was choosing this more polar strategy, so I don't think there's a one size fits all. Uh, Usually try only one size on the flop. Yeah, I think that's good as well. But when it comes to live poker, like I think range bet is a really good strategy for what it's worth. I'm not trying to say it's not what I should have done and not as what's best, but I do give myself permission to kind of do what I want as long as I know it kind of makes some sense. And like if I wanted to I might have this as a strategy, let's say, where I've got like some B75, some B25, and obviously some hands just function better or worse in different sizes, and the solver's going to come up with this magic strategy that fits it perfectly, and then you do end up still betting most hands. So if I find myself here with like pocket jacks and I'm against someone who I don't think can read into it, I might just get greedy and size up. Or if I find myself with ace four offsuit and I think they're going to massively overfold even more to the big size, I might just choose that big size. So I think always giving yourself permission to do something slightly different if you feel like it's going to give you an edge. So I don't know enough about this guy to be honest. I thought he was I haven't played with him much. I think he came across as a reg the way he spoke about poker, but maybe not as much experience in the higher stakes or like live poker. But I'm not sure. Like I don't want to go too much in on what I thought of him because I didn't have strong reads. But I thought it doesn't like ace queen suited is always going to be very similar. Like the EV of, I mean, yeah, EV of big bet's always not going to be amazing, but the EV of bet small and check are going to be similar. So like if we node like this and we say, okay, we bet small and we change his check raise strategy, we make him overfold, we make him under check raise, it's going to go through the roof that the value that betting's going to be worth more. But then if I also check and then we get him to like bluff too much with some hands on the runouts, like maybe he did, or we get him to like play too passively on some runouts, or like pay me off too much. Like there's always more extra EV you're going to get in every line. So I don't have really strong feelings about it, to be honest. I think range bet small is a very good strategy. Check and big bet, or like a bit of everything is all going to be a fine strategy. Yeah, I just thought it's too easy to overbluff, and the sizing scheme gave me too good a price was the main reason I called here. But yeah, like sometimes I'm going to lose here, so this is the run good people don't see as much that I happen to run into the bluff. Like if he just had ace eight or he just had 10-7 suited or whatever, then I'm like maybe it was a bad call in my eyes in the moment because he didn't have a bluff. So you can always be a little bit results oriented. Like I think him bluffing his hand is indicative that he is over bluffing, but he might not. He might not have bluffed with the gut shots with an under or 6-7 or 6-9. Who knows? I'm going to try skip ahead now to where I think there's going to be a lot more hands because I don't think I played quite as many hands early on. I mean, I could try and jump for a bit and see if there's anything. Delay C bet is a very strong strategy though. I know I'm always overfolding if I slow myself. Yeah, I think you just want to become really good at whatever you're doing. So I'm really comfortable when you just C bet range because you take your whole range to the turn and it does become nice in that sense. But I do like coming up with these like other ways to navigate sometimes too. So I don't always find myself like, oh, I'm in the C bet line again. So I think it's nice just to step outside the box sometimes if you feel like it can make some sense. And like I quite like you can even just be 1-2-5 there. Like if I think my hand suits that, then it really puts your opponent in a tough spot with a lot of hands. So I could analyze that hand for probably hours just by like, okay, how does he perform badly against this size and this size? But yeah, like I said, I want to try and cover more hands because I could definitely go over the same hands for ages. This was. Oh, you might be surprised with this one actually. I lost this bloody flip, didn't I? Sometimes when you have the big flip like this, if you kind of feel like it might define your tournament, or you like, come on, if I just hold here, I'm in a good spot, everything's all good. Look, the pot's 500k. If I win this, it's going to put me up to I don't know, like 700. I'm going to be big chip leader. It's all great. But no, I lost, and I still won the tournament. So don't take it too badly when you lose these ones. You might just run good in the next important spots. Maybe I should skip ahead to where I know I'm playing more hands. Because I wouldn't mind going over hands other people play too, but again, there's going to be so many. This is 10 hours of footage. Jesus Christ. So yeah, let's just go. What have I got? 4 hours 12, something around here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've missed a lot if I go this far. Uh, I'll put in blind next hand. uh, okay, I'm gonna try and skip forward, but not quite as fast. Like here, I don't remember this hand, the raise of ace jack suited. It could just be a raise and take for all I know. Uh, Peter calls a queen eight suited. Peter's a very spicy player. This is just going to be small c bet, take it down. Raise with 7-5. I think this was an interesting hand actually. I think this was a big pot, if I remember right. Yeah, this is a big pot. This one's actually really interesting. I don't know if anyone's seen this hand before, but already I think my open pre is pretty close because we're 17 people left now. We're 9 paid. And I do cover the big blind, but it's not the most amazing hand when you're a bit shallow. Like I'm only playing like 36 bigs. I remember actually tanking over this spot a little bit on the button, thinking should I open? Because the small blind is James Mitchell, who is I think chip leader at this point, and he's quite aggressive. So honestly, like this might be a bad open. I remember actually thinking that in game as well. Like this is actually really like on the cusp. 7-6 suited are probably always open, even though it might be close to. Uh, this guy I don't think I knew that much about going into it. Like played with him maybe a bit on day one. Saw him like have some aggro lines, have some more solid lines. Like can't tell you too much. He defends 9-8 off, pretty standard. And now obviously we get a pretty cooler board, but the way this hand plays out is actually really sick. So he could lead the flop, I think. Maybe not as much in ICM because he doesn't defend 9-6 off necessarily. He doesn't necessarily defend 6-4 off. Uh, but he's going to hit the board more. But the SPR is only like less than 6, so he does need to be careful. I've got a lot of like offsuit 8x as well. It might be that he never leads here, to be honest, but I don't think it's going to be a bad play to lead with some hands. I probably just have a little bit too much like 9-10 jack type cards. So I see bet. I'm not always going to bet this board. That's why I've gone for a B40. Again, you can, I always say this, you can just compose whatever strategy you think makes the most sense. Obviously, with my hand, I'm like, let's get money in fast. My hand's vulnerable. If he's got an 8, I want to just get it in. Uh, but like, you could even check aces, maybe. The stats pot ratio might be such that your overpairs mainly bet, but it's a little bit troublesome. Like, think about all the bad turn cards here. Any 6, any 9, any 4 is bad for all your like value right now. And that's 12 turn cards. So turn is nice, but I can have Jack 9 off in my range, so and obviously I do turn a 10 sometimes, but so does he. He can have Jack 9 in his range too, and maybe I bet it more than he calls with it. He might raise with it sometimes, but there's a lot of like like pairs and open enders, and I guess he's now improved as well. Uh, a lot of I think I remember what I did here actually. Looking at this now, I think I should just bet. Yeah, I was worried I wasn't going to bet this time. Okay, I bet 69k. Nice. I think this is actually the first 69k bet of the tournament. There's going to be a lot of those. Yeah, my hand is just like if I die, I die. I kind of have to decide this sometimes based on the stats pot ratio. Obviously, I'm worried he has 10-8, 10-7, Jack 9. He was strapping the flop, sure. Like he doesn't really have the sets though, because he's going to jam with those pre. He doesn't. Maybe he could have. Yeah, it's just mainly Jack 9 and like a 10-8. 10-8 might even want to get it in on the flop sometimes. Maybe he's a little bit too deep, but it's just one of those. If we die, we die. It's more dangerous to go check check, and the river is a jack, a 10, a 9, an 8, a 6, a 4. That's like it feels like half the deck is going to ruin my hand here, and he might just check jam with something that I'm playing well against, or if he folds and he has like a pair and a gut shot, it's actually a lot of equity. Imagine if he folds like even jack 8 on the turn, he can have all the 8x of hearts, all the 5x of hearts, like infinite hands that are going to call. Uh, yeah, I think even if I have like ace 10, which I guess I wouldn't always see that. If I have like pocket jacks, I think I just have to kind of bet and run it. If I have aces, kings, queens, I probably still am obliged to always bet and run it, especially without a heart. You check raise his hand. Yeah, I think I would actually check raise his hand a lot on the flop too because it's a lot of equity. It's just a lot of hand. I can see in ICM why he would want to be a bit careful, and I don't think it's never going to be bad to call it, but it's nice to kind of take the hand down, or if I decide to get it in, like imagine if I just jam the flop with queens, he's got any 6, any 8, any 9 twice. That's like quite a lot of outs. Or if he just denies, like I might have bet the flop with, like queen 10 and turned to 10 now. Uh, he has implied odds when he improves. Yeah, that's true as well. If the turns to 6, it's hard to get value. There is no flush draw on the flop for him to run it against though. And like if I've got six pocket sixes, 6-7, 5-6, it's like I'm not necessarily going to always bet the flop and want to run it. So now this is the sickest part of the hand. So obviously I've just rivered absolute gin, and I'm kind of praying he's got 6-7 or 7-9, a hand that kind of had to get there and was paying off. Because I'm thinking if he's got an 8, it's a little bit dicey for him now. Like looking at his hand, I think he checks, I jam. This is a tough spot, but if he's got a 10, he's probably calling. So I'm already thinking like, obviously I'm jamming. There's nothing to it, but where am I getting my value from? Because I like to think about these things anyway. And then I can't believe that this happened. Reno, I don't even think he uses a time bank here as well. He jams the river. He literally just donk jams the river as a bluff. Yeah, donk for people that don't know, donk jam isn't a derogatory term. That means he just led into the aggressor. I'm not trying to say his play was bad. Um, but what do I think of his jam here? I mean, I can barely it barely even shows up because obviously I call before like he even gets his chips in, and I'm just living the dream. But so he's jamming to try and make me fold. I think it's definitely a bluff because I'm not going to call with worse. Yeah, I'm never calling with a worse hand here. I'm trying to think. Maybe if I have 8-9, I might call with a chop if I think he's bluffing with like 5-6. But uh, I mean, it feels like a donation here because I've got the nuts, but I have to put myself in my own shoes if I've got a different part of my range here. I think the problem with his hand is he's way too high in his range. He could have 5x of hearts. He could have 5-6. He could have. I mean, I guess 8-6 is kind of the same hand. 8-6 to me is a little bit better though, because what if I was betting the flop with like pocket nines as like a kind of mergey bet? I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't, but like that, a pocket nines is like the next hand up that folds, or an eight is my first hand to fold. He doesn't want an eight, or like it just feels like it's just the wrong hand to bluff with in my eyes. Whereas he has value in the check call, he has value in check check win. I don't always bluff this river. Like I could have queen nine, king nine, give up sometimes, or like follow through with a bluff. Like well, I have king six and I was going to bluff, and then he could call. Like these things are definitely going to be baked into it. Where I don't think he bluffs his hand, or like he might have like ace six of hearts. Maybe he should jam the turn, or like king six of hearts. Um, so there's definitely hands which are worse than his that make more sense to do it. But I don't think either of us have that many 7x. I guess he has a little bit more because I don't bet the flop and bet the turn with them very often. But when the pot's this big, he's only jamming half pot on the river. I don't think it's enough of a game changer to start making me fold good hands. Like if I've got ace 10 plus, or if I was value betting the turn essentially, which let's say, I mean, ace 10, I'll probably check the flop, but let's say I have queen 10 plus, whatever's value, I don't think I can really fold because there's enough hands I can kind of put him on. The question is, as an exploit, did I think he was bluffing? I didn't get enough time to think about it because I had the nuts. I wasn't like, man, what do I do here? But if I did have an overbet, I might have been like, do I feel like he's always got it or not? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It feels like he's basically trying to say he has 7-6 or a trap that like decided not to jam, like if he has a straight or something that just didn't jam yet for some reason. Uh, I think we just can't fold an overpair. I don't think we can fold queen 10, so I think he just wants to bluff different hands. I mean, maybe he does make some hands indifferent, really, because where does he pull his bluffs from? If he's supposed to check jam the turn with like king six of hearts, then I guess he kind of needs to pull from pairs to bluff the river, but a five is just way better. Blocks pocket fives too. Still gonna have some good stuff going on. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna run this one because it's just gonna be like pretty complicated. And it's obviously just what do I think he's doing on the turn, etc. It does feel like it's hard to find bluffs, which is obviously a very good point for him bluffing and over bluffing like he's doing here. But I just don't. I don't think it's the combo. But if I'm ever folding an overpair or a 10, suddenly everything's the combo. So that's why I try and like look at the good in what someone does. And obviously, I like where someone's head at when they're trying to turn showdown value into a bluff because they think it's a hot spot, which maybe he did. Uh, I don't think he has to dunk 7x on the row because you still, yeah, that's probably the main, that's probably a better, more eloquent way of saying what I was thinking there. I'm going to jam for you anyway, so you don't need to get value from a 7 by jamming yourself. That's a really well made point of like what I was basically beating around the bush to say. Yeah, like you're not missing value with a 7, but you are now missing value from bluffs. So I don't think it makes sense to have a donk range when a 7 and traps are such a small portion of your range at this point. Most of your range is going to be 5-6, 5x of hearts, 8-9, 8-6. I mean, if you didn't raise the flop, or like hands that are just like they want to be bolstered by the fact you've still got 7x in your check range, so I can't just go bluffing like crazy. Um, so I think it's like a very big fundamental exploit. Maybe he knew he was doing this in game and he just thought I would overfold. And like I gotta give props to that, like finding a creative line to try and make someone overfold. Like I don't, it's hard for me because I don't know how I would have felt when I had Queen 10 or Jacks or Aces or whatever. I just don't know. Because like if I had a bluff and if I had like King 6 here and I was gonna bluff jam the river, I might be thinking, oh, like he saved me money here. But in reality, if he was planning to check fold to a jam, then technically he's winning against the bluffs that he wouldn't have won versus anyway. So I don't know, it's just a weird spot, very weird spot. But I'm glad he bloody jammed it because he might have folded if he checked. I think there's gonna be a break. Yeah, we've had a redraw, so now we're at 16 players left at this point. I think started to kind of run away with it at some point these last two tables. This is pretty sick too. I like this sort of combo to free bet as Ravi. The reason I like it is because the first hands that people usually have the green light to fight back with is ace five suited. So when you have a five, he blocks ace five of clubs, which might be a hand that James is always sending. But it's very easy to overdo your bluffs here as Ravi because he might take every queen five, every king five, every ace deuce, every queen six, every queen four, and that's kind of the brilliance and problem at these spots is people are always massively overdoing it or massively underdoing it, and the sort of player that massively overdoes it is usually kind of becomes clear. So James sticks it in his eye here with a6, which honestly I don't like. I think that James, I think it's good that he was like, I think he's overdoing it, so I'm going to fight back. But a6 is such a trash hand when you get called. Like, think of what Ravi's value is here. It's literally maybe ace queen suited, maybe ace jack suited, but even that he might just call pre. He's playing like 45 bigs, is it? Yeah. So like maybe ace jack suited and ace queen off, and then pocket nines maybe, because he's against like a chip leader open that's really loose. So when you get called a6, it's just like absolutely dusted. Whereas if Ravi's bluffing, he's so polar here. He's either got, say, nines plus, ace queen plus, if he's got value, or he's bluffing, he's got a hand like queen five off. You don't need to go all in to achieve as much. So what he should do here is just click it back. If we look at the sizes, he's open to 22. It's 63 more. If he clicks it back to 148, min click, when it's like a third of Ravi's stack, I think it just achieves the same because Ravi's not going to be there thinking I'm going to five bet jam queen five off, is he? He's probably supposed to find some five bet jams with like ace two off and like some random bluffs like this, but it's so hard to find them. And then you just save yourself all the money if he does jam. He probably just had value. Or there's probably a world where his bottom value now, like pocket nines or ace queen suited, is just calls the click and you realize your equity and like don't get stacked as much. You get to bluff him more. Like good things can happen. And if you get jammed on with a6 off, you're like, man, I'm not even getting the right price, so it doesn't matter, and you just preserve more chips. If he runs into it here, he gives Ravi the chip lead, which is just a big, big problem. You click it back, he jams, you've still got the chip lead. Not as detrimental. But yeah, so I wasn't gonna try and go in on other people's hands so much, so uh, he didn't fold pocket nines to the jam there, did he? Oh, it was post flop. Okay, that's okay. So, any questions or anything? Anything going wrong with the stream? Anything I could do to make this clearer? Please let me know. I've got the chat up on the side. Uh, this one I just free bet to call off against Tom. It's got an open button. Peter calls 4-3 suited in the small blind. This is 16 left, 9 paid. I just squeeze. Uh, just free bet for value to call off. I think ace queen suited's too good to just jam, so I tried to induce because I think Tom knows I'm aggressive. He might find some bluff jams, and then we just both had it. So don't get to find out if he would have bluff jammed on me there. Okay, this is a really sick hand. I like this hand. I was very proud of this hand. It's already spoiled by the fact you can see Andrew's cards, but uh, yeah. So I just called Queen's pre here, uh, and that is because uh, appreciate the comments. Thank you. I just called here because it's 9 paid, 16 left, and me and Andrew are basically like 2 and 3 at the table. We're playing over 60 bigs, and if I free bet with queens, that's because I want to get it in. So if I'm playing less than 40 bigs here, I probably always free bet, and I'm kind of happy to run it. If I'm playing 60 bigs, uh, I don't know if it's only me, but I think the bit rate might be dropping now and again. No big deal though. That might be my just dodgy internet, which unfortunately I can't do much about. I'm using wired, so that's like the most I can do. But uh, if it really gets bad, let me know and I'll try. Maybe I'll connect to my phone or something if that's better. Uh, Yeah, again, basically in this spot, I don't want to get queens in for this many bigs with this much ICM. And queens is usually a mix anyway, like calls and free bets against opens, especially from EP opens, because you're not living the dream when all the money goes in. Obviously, you free bet they call, it's like a nice situation. You make the pot bigger, you got a good hand, but you place a four bet, you're like, man, suddenly am I just going to be getting stacked here by kings or aces or ace king or like playing a huge pot that I don't need to? And I'm in a nice position. I cover like regs who've got less chips, so they're going to play like in line. There's some fun players at the table too. James has got more chips, but he's quite far away from me. Like I'm just in a nice spot that I don't want to try and risk that unnecessarily. And obviously, it's just going to be a great spot post flop. Uh, hello, Pricey Live. Yeah, pretty sick. I can say I'm a scoop champ now. It took bloody how many years of playing them to be able to say that. See, I call with queens. I think ace nine off in the big blind is a disciplined fold from Stephen Bean. Could have called if he wanted to. And now he checks pretty fast, even though like Andrew's an older guy, but I know he's got some moves. He's not just like old type player. He's like I've seen him do some light opens, do some light bluffs. Like he's in the mix. He plays pretty good, I think. Uh, Now I'm in a tough spot already with queens, where again, if I'm already pre-thinking what are bad things that can happen. If I bet this flop and face a raise, I'm in an absolutely horrible spot. Uh, so are you free betting suited aces and kings too? Basically in this spot, yeah, I'm always free betting aces pretty much because we're so deep. I don't really want to trap. There isn't like a jam stack here. Kings, I'm free betting probably always too. Ace king suited, probably always. Ace king off queens are where I'm starting to be like I could call, I could free bet. Same with like jacks and tens and ace queen. Like sometimes it's cleaner to have slightly worse value because it's easier to play against a four bet and you still get value. Um, so if I free bet with ace queen here and he calls, I'm like, yeah, this is great because he probably doesn't have ace king, even though maybe in this spot he could have ace king. Whereas like you free bet ace ace king off and get four bet, you're like, oh, I hope he's got bluffs because if I jam and run into it, it's a horrible spot. So different hands do better things. Like if I have king nine suited, I could free bet, make him fold king queen off, king jack off, king ten off, maybe make him fold king ten suited, make him fold some like ace nine off, make him fold some maybe like ace three suited. Like good things can happen. If I get four bet when I get king nine suited, I don't care. It's just in the bin. So it's like it's just how polarized you are, isn't it? Like I'm definitely gonna have free bets here. Like king queen off, ace jack off, I might be more happy to free bet because they still play well in a free bet pot and they're just clean against a four bet. Or like hands where in theory like maybe ace five suited is a free bet because then it five bet jams. But if I don't want to five bet jam it, maybe I should call my ace five suited. Maybe I free bet my ace six suited because it's like not as nice to play in the call line, but it still has fold equity. It does fine in a free bet pot. Uh, so there isn't like a one size fits all again. It's just how I'm feeling with the meta game in the moment. Like I think my image is a bit tight or a bit loose. That might determine how much I'm using some of these combos as well. So it's kind of game flow. Do prefer online or live? This week online. When I played this tournament live. Depends where I'm running better. I like to just do a bit of both. So yeah, I think the worse my opponent is, the more I'm going to bet queens here because my opponent's a bad ABC passive. They're not going to find check raise bluffs, and it's just like, no, I'll just bet and then I'll bet and then probably can't get free streets on many runouts, but I'll just get value from a jack or from like a flush draw or whatever. But against someone good or someone that's got moves, what if he starts check raising with ace 10 with the ace of spades and I just end up folding the best hand? Or what if he's just got a flush and I have to call the street and I just lost a much bigger pot? Like so many bad things can happen. I think bet is completely fine, but if you face a check raise, same as if I face a four bet of a three bet pre, it's a tough spot. And do I really need to be in that spot here? If I check back, I have such a clean bet for value on a good run out. And in terms of jack, obviously, not the best card because I expect him to check most of his hands out of position. And he quickly looks at his chips and quickly goes to bet, which is usually like he either already knew he was going to bet like before the turn came, or like he's now just happy to bet. He just didn't seem to think for that long, which is a bit troublesome because if you've got ace nine, if you've got pocket tens, if you've even got ace king with a spade, these are all hands that you can kind of be like, oh, should I bet, should I check? Like you might have a little bit more deliberation. But if you've got a flush or if you've got a jack, you're pretty much like, yep, I need to bet this spot. It's kind of pretty clear cut. So I think already like some sort of radar went off for me on this spot where I was like, I don't feel amazing. I definitely can't fold. He can bet with worse hands and he can have bluffs. I can't put too much weight into like some live stuff, at least not yet when I have such a good hand. And my hand's really under repped. I've literally called a raise and checked back the flop. I have like almost the best hand I can have. I could check back with Jack 10, Queen Jack actually, but or like the occasional ace queen of spades or something. But yeah, I'm already not feeling thrilled. And then I think the six is on the river. So the six doesn't really change anything, but I mean, I might be perceived to have a six sometimes. Like I could have maybe some ace six suited or six seven suited or six five suited that call pre, check back the flop, and then felt obligated to call one bet. He doesn't really ever have a six. I guess it blocks him having pocket sixes a little bit. It's kind of a brick though. Uh, and now he's in the tank. He wants to bet, and I'm hoping for a small bet so I can snap call it, but he doesn't. He bets big. He bets 75 into 115, and this is now a horrible spot because I don't think people bet this big with pocket tens. So my hand's a bluff catcher, and my queens block the most obvious bluffs. The most obvious bluffs here are queen 10 suited, had an open ender, like queen or queen 10 offsuit, any queen 10, or king queen. King queen, especially with one spade, I guess, but it could be king of spades, queen of diamonds, blocked, king of spades, queen of clubs, blocked, maybe even just a different king queen. But other than that, ace of spade X, like ace of spades 10, maybe doesn't even need to bluff anymore. It's got like some showdown. It might have bet the flop. It might have checked the turn. Like it could have been diluted by other lines. But if he has a jack, if he has a boat, if he has a flush, I think he's just always being like, I'll check most of the hands on the flop, and then I'm going to bet, and I'm going to bet again. And the fact he's just gone this greedy, I think honestly it was the size. If he bets like third pot on the river, I just have to snap call because I beat value. I don't need to think about it. But now I feel like I'm bluff catching, and I block bluffs, and that's a bad spot to be in. And it's easy to fool yourself into saying I'm too high in my range. I've like underrepped my hand. This is the best hand I can have. I can't fold this part of my range, but really, you need to supersede that with what does my opponent actually have. It doesn't matter if I fold this and I fold every hand I can have in this spot. That doesn't matter at all. You can range fold. That you always need permission to do that, especially in live poker against people whose strategies are all over the place. And I do genuinely think he's capable of bluffing. But something about the sizing scheme, the timings, the live stuff, just really felt to me like he had value, and that yeah, like I said, he wouldn't value bet with tens. And I was particularly proud of this hand, not because I happened to obviously get it right, which is nice because sometimes my read was off and he just has queen 10 or he has the hand that I blocked anyway. But because my gut straight away said this is a fold, and I didn't talk myself into calling because so many times here, like my gut saying fold, and still I'll just find myself clicking call because I'm like this hand's too good to fold, and I'll layer on this extra thought process, which is just not helpful. But here I stuck with my gut. I could see I was really like, what the hell did you have there? Like, please tell me you had it. Like, I couldn't wait to look at the stream because I was really like, I really felt like he had value, and fortunately got it right that time. I didn't use time bank because I didn't want to like that was partially because I didn't want to talk myself into calling. I was like, just go if you got, just go if you got, and that was like the main story for this tournament. Trust in my gut. Uh, looks like we're going on break. Now we're still 16 players left. I think I did get quite a nice donation coming up. Oh, this is kind of an interesting spot. So I've opened the ace jack. We're now, yeah, 16 left. 6k, 12k. I'm like probably third, second or third in chips at the table. Maybe third because I lost that pot with queens. Uh, and Brian free bets to 55k. And I know Brian's like got some moves too. He's not super nutted. And usually I fold ace jack off to a free bet in these positions. Can we try and see where like how many handed we are? I guess we must be 8-handed. So yeah, cut off. So it's low jack against MP. Usually I always fold ace jack in this position. The reason I called is literally just because of the price. Like it's gone from 25 to 55k, and I hated calling this spot. I was like, I really feel like I've got the worst hand. I'm out of position. It's so like horrible. But I'm calling 30k into a pot of 140, and I think he might have bluff sometimes. And if I'm behind, like as you'll see, like I guess once Tom folds, I've got 25% equity. I don't think that accounts for folded cards as well. And I'm putting in less than a quarter of the pot to get there. And given that, I mean, our stacks are pretty similar at this point. Like we both have to be careful in the ICM. We don't have like more pressure uh, on one of each other. Like we both have to be a bit cautious. He's not going to be able to just go like bet 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 jam like blasting off against me. So it's not like a situation where I don't think he wants to invite me into the pot with this small size. I think his ace king either wants to flat, similar reason to my queens in the other hand, or he wants to free bet big and say, you know what, I'm polarized here. I don't want it. Even he has jacks here, does he want to get it in pre? So his free bet is like, okay, I've got ace king suited, pocket queens, or like kings, aces, really strong hands, and it doesn't make sense to free bet small if you're so polar, because obviously you never want to only free bet good hands. So the sizing is like it's a strategy you can compose and it can work, but he is inviting me into the pot with a wider range. Like I can't fold even like the weaker suited portions of my range. I could probably fold like king 10 offsuit, king jack offsuit, maybe like king queen off, ace jack off is where I'm probably drawing the line that I feel like I'm obligated to play now. Ace 10 off I probably still would have folded. Uh, but as you can see, like I guess in this spot he's got me because he got me to call with a hand that he's got crushed and he's in position. But let's see who got who now when the flop's ace high and the turn's a jack. I think he should range bet the flop for a small size as well, to be honest. But he actually ends up saving money by not doing that. And now, when he checks back the flop, I'm already thinking he probably has ace 10, ace 9, or pocket kings, like that sort of hand. Most bluffs just want to see bet. He's probably like weighted towards medium strength. As it happens, he was kind of trapping. Maybe he's trying to like just make the hand easier to play by checking back and going like bet bet, like cap the damage if I've ever got a set of eights or something. Or like ace 8 suited, I'm always getting there now as well. So my ace jack, I was deciding like, am I going to be greedy and try and get like a check raise in or something, or do I just go bet bet? I think I bet such that I hoped he wouldn't fold kings or queens. Uh, don't remember what sizing I chose to be honest. 69k. Of course I did. So yeah, here's the second instance of the 69k bet. I should make a montage of these. So that means I was probably thinking like I should bet close to half pot, and it just like it fell into that pretty nicely. And he called pretty fast, which could be a please don't bet the river. I've got pocket kings or pocket queens, or it could be like I've got an ace and I've got an easy decision. It's hard to read into these things too much. And the river's a queen. Now the queen, it's a really annoying river because I don't really give him ace king to shut the flop, but ace queen, I could see that more. Obviously the clubs get there. It's just like my bluffs improve a lot. Maybe I had king 10 or flush draw. Maybe I was value betting with ace queen. Maybe like a river to queen if I was bluffing, so I don't need to bluff. Like a lot of bad things on this river from my hand that I think of like it meant that I couldn't get as greedy on the river. I still think I've got the best hand. I just bet the size where I'm like, I hope you have like, ace 5 suited, ace 9 suited that's just gonna cry and snap call. Even though in reality, when whatever size I chose here, I might just never be bluffing. Yeah, he's called so fast that he turned his hand over first. Uh, I bet 100. So I've bet like B40 on the river. Yeah, I bet 100,000. So I'm just trying to get called by an ace, and at least be perceived to have enough bluffs. So if you bet too small, maybe it's a little bit more suspicious. Okay, let's try skip ahead to the next interesting spot. I guess this hand's got a little bit to it. So Tom's opened the button, king four off, reasonable hand to free bet, but there is this leveling wall, let's say, uh, where if I always free bet these hands and I'm against someone that knows I'm capable, he could just start like jamming on me really wide. And I think Tom knows that I'm free betting the big blind a decent amount, so it's kind of a leveling thing where I'm like, I can't do this every time. I can't necessarily tell you why I didn't free bet it this time, but I was going to free bet it sometimes. And then this is a really nice slot for me to check raise because I've got the king of diamonds and my four kind of it's an unblocker. So it's more likely he's got 10-8, jack 8, queen 8 hands where like he just doesn't connect with the board. The king of diamonds is a card he's going to continue with. So when he checked back, I was kind of like interested. He checks back a board. I think that you could range bet. You could bet so heavily. It is like a heavy ICM spot, but he's defended himself against the check raise, but he has kind of boxed himself as very medium strength hand. I wouldn't put it past him having some traps, especially against me. I remember being very close to like, do I bluff this turn now? But having a king feels a bit bad. Like I want him to have king high, but he probably always has ace high, king high, or a trap. And if I'm gonna have to try, if I want to win with this hand, I'm gonna have to bet at some point. Uh, I nearly bet the turn here, I think, because it's nice to have a four, so it's some interaction with 4 5. If the river's a 5, a 7, a 2, feels like you've got some interaction. he could call the turn with a gut shot and then fold the river. But I think I was kind of scared that he's just got aces or a trap sometimes too. Played some interesting parts for Prime. Yeah, Glasgow too. He's good fun at the table. Yeah, he's wild. He's wild. It's nice to see people that are like, playing a different style. Um, Especially the more like creative and out of line aggressive when you've got to try and figure them out and you can't think in the same way, can't range them. Uh, Thoughts on Medi Cash and Tritons? Boost your own confidence. Well, Medi was actually playing Tritons before. That's why like this tournament was kind of small for him. But yeah, it was nice to feel like I was contending pretty nicely with someone that is at that level. Uh, I like playing with good players. I like being able to like test myself. Uh, yeah, this five of diamonds river. Now, I don't really give him many flushes. It's not impossible, but the king of diamonds is a pretty nice blocker. Just king queen of diamonds, ace king of diamonds, maybe some of the only flushes you might get here with. I pretty much think he's got ace high most of the time, the occasional king high. I don't think my hand's got showdown. I think the king of diamonds blocker might be in his calls because if he's got to the river with ace king, king of diamonds, even ace king offsuit, or king queen with a king of diamonds, or a hand like that, he's more likely to hero the river having a diamond blocker. So therefore, my hand becomes a good river bluff. I'm not just going to bluff every time I don't have showdown, but having a diamond is really nice. Uh, a lot of my bluffs would bluff sooner too. Like if I've got any 4-5, any 7-8, some of these hands, I might check raise some of them sometimes too. Uh, but I can also be greedy on the river. I bet 69 again. Third instance of the 69k bet. Always served me well. Uh, yeah, and now I'm just saying I've got like a 6 or better pretty much. I can value bet a 6 here very happily. Target ace high to call sometimes. He has to call and fold with ace high based on the line, I think. So I think it's relatively standard hand. He could have bet the flop, but then I would have won with the check raise. So I think he's just not winning this hand, unfortunately for him, based on the run out and the hands. I think this is a semi-interesting hand. I've opened the cutoff with ace nine into the chip leader. James, he calls here for the Yu-Gi-Oh show and tell as well. Uh, I'm not gonna get my cards out. I'm not gonna go too full nerd on this stream as much as I would love to. Uh, King Jack 9. So you could obviously bet this board with a lot of hands. He's going to have some auto folds, but I am against the chip leader. He's going to have the most reason to fight back and put me in tough spots because he covers me. I've opened the cutoff, so I don't necessarily want to range bet. I've got a lot of hands that miss this board too. I've got Jack X that might want to start checking already, pocket tens, even hands like pocket queens or a weak king might want to check. So I think a conventional strategy here would be bet and size up and bet like king 9 plus, check your medium sort of strength hands. You could just range bet if you're against someone weak or in a different context because it's probably going to play fine. But ace nine, I've got showdown. I've got value in the check to the river line or check check turn an ace. He's got a worse ace. Check down the hit a nine. Maybe I get one street from a worse nine. Uh, Turns a two, so now I'm pretty much in showdown mode. And he could start bluffing his hand. Ace of hearts is such a nice power card, but again, he's got some showdown. I might check down with like ace five, which he beats, for example. Now the Queen River's really interesting because I feel like now my ace and my nine are such good cards, but I don't know. Like now I'm thinking about this. Like my hand's probably too good to bluff, um, but I did end up bluffing this because it felt like ace ten and 10-9 are like his river check raises. So then interacting, having an ace and a nine, it feels like two good cards not to bluff. But in reality, you can see like I just win against ace high. In that sense, I might not need to bluff. But I think if he gets here with a six or a two or a pocket pair, pocket sevens, pocket fives, even a jack, if he's got like jack five of spades here, it's such a tough spot to call the river because I'm going to bet the flop and the turn at some point with most of my bluffs. So it has to be a hand that I've decided not to bluff the flop and the turn with, and also not hit a king, queen, jack, 6-2, which isn't that many hands. Like ace eight, I would have showed down here, weirdly, which is a bit counterintuitive because it's got slightly less showdown because then ace 8 loses to his ace 9. Um, but that's what it just felt like in game. Like the blockers are too good. Like it felt like a bit of a hot spot on the Queen River, but it depends how he's like. He's probably going to snap call any bet with a king if he's played this line, but he probably bets the turn. If he has a queen, he probably bluffs the turn with a lot of them. If he gets here with a queen, it's not like the nicest spot. But I think if I do bet this river, I'm going big. I'm basically saying I've got a king, which felt like it could check down, which is like king five or something, or I've rivered two pair, I've rivered a straight, I've rivered something good. So I think I want to choose a huge bet size. Like I don't. I mean, even ace queen, I guess might be able to be a bit greedy, but I'm pretty much saying I've got like a really strong hand of a bet the river. I don't know if I like this necessarily. I probably could find some other bluffs instead. And a call bet 69k. There's another 69k bet. Just couldn't help it. I mean, it was nearly pot. I felt like it fit nicely there. Maybe a slightly unnecessary bluff there. If I had to be overly critical of myself. Uh, this was a this was a genuine donation to whoever in the chat said donation earlier. Peter's open jammed 18 bigs under the gun, eight-handed with ace eight, and I found ace king suited. Uh, which yeah, I just call, and I think Brian has a pretty standard fold here. Like when I call 18 bigs plus one, I've got the whole table to act. There's heavy ICM. My call range here is literally ace queen suited, ace queen off. I think I would have folded, which sounds silly, but I didn't know it was going to jam ace eight off for 18 bigs. So I didn't give him that hand. I've not seen anything like this before. If I had to range him, I would give him ace queen, pocket eights, and then maybe pocket sevens, maybe ace jack, maybe king queen, maybe ace 10. But like the hands I definitely think he has are literally ace queen eights plus. So I'm not. Even if I had nines here, I think I might fold because I'm worried that he has jacks or tens. And like I'm flipping at best, and there's too many people after me. It's too much of my stack. Even ace king off, like I'm not loving life to call. I would have called ace queen suited. I'm not loving life. I think I would have called. But yeah, I think ace queen off I would fold. I think nines I would fold. So nines are just performing really badly against me, and he's still got loads of players to act as well. But he does make the good fold, and it's annoying in a spot like this with nines because you see you would have been in a dream spot. I mean, he would have lost, I guess, but it is the right fold. And I get a very crucial hold to put me up to what I think is table chip lead. Yep, a really nice time. Ravi with the discipline fold that. Folding ace two suited, button versus cutoff. He could good free bet. I think folding's fine. Funnily, I've chose to free bet this. I didn't remember this one either. Uh, at this point, I have seen that Andrew made pretty loose open. He opened like Jack five suited or something in the might have been the cutoff. When I was watching the stream back, I'd seen he did that this day. So I was kind of ready to take one of these spots against him and go after him. Uh, we'll be playing at the Vic next month. I have a gift for you, sad to hear you're not playing at the Irish Open. Unfortunately, I am not going to be playing at the Irish Open or the Vic. I'm going to Prague for the World Series, and then I'm going to Thailand, skipping the Vic as much as I would love, because it's like my most run good venue, to be honest. Like, I'd love to be there. Obviously, it's like good for the MPL and loads of good stuff can happen, but it's nice to actually have time for a holiday for once, because it's we're celebrating my dad's birthday as well. But I'll catch you at the stop after, maybe. I don't know. I'll probably be doing Blackpool, Leeds, Luton. Unfortunately, Luton before Vegas this year. But yeah, a6 off, nice hand to free bet here. Again, like, what's the story I'm telling? Look at how deep we are. You've got to ask yourself which hands you're willing to get in. He's open to 24, so he's playing 700 and like 40k-ish, which is 60 bigs. Yeah, 60 bigs. Like, if I've got jacks here, I mean, I probably can get it in, or ace king off, but I'm not exactly thrilled to start like getting all these chips in. Like ace king off and jacks, I think might even mix flats here. So when I free bet, I'm saying I've got queens or I've got ace king suited. Um, and that the story of that is I need to go big. I need to go really big. Like obviously big blind versus cutoff, you could normally go maybe 5x if it was chip EV. ICM, sometimes the chips are worth more, so you don't need to go as big, but I think I need to go like over 4x here, which looks like I've gone close to 5x. He's opened 24k, I've made it nearly 120. 120 would have been 5x. So I've made it nearly 10 bigs over 2 bigs, which to some seems like a bit extreme measures, but look at the hand I'm putting in a horrible spot now. His pocket eight, I mean, obviously my plan is not to make him fold pocket eights. My plan is to make him fold all his maybe king jack off and king queen off and ace 10 off as like his close hands. Eights I think should call. Uh, but it's a tough spot, when you're deep in a tournament, there's 14 left and 9 paid, and you're not familiar with these spots when you face the really big free bets. I could see eights just even folding for some people in this spot. Even if he knows I'm aggressive, like what if I just have it this time, or does he really want to play post flop when the pot's going to be huge? What if he makes a bad decision? Like people don't like these really high pressure, intense decisions. And obviously, my ace is good. The six is like an unblocker. Uh, he makes a tight fold there with eights, but I don't blame him. I don't think it's like a print to call there with eights. Uh, I think it's a call or a fold. I would have called, but if he had like sevens, then it already feels very much like do we really need to be in this situation? Look, he's nicely third place at the table. He's in like a pretty good spot. Do you really want to risk that? I mean, I guess the other side to that is let's gamble and this guy's free betting too much in the big blind. Let's fight. Let's play for the chip lead so I can run over the table. Uh, yeah, I would have called, but not crazy. Ravi folds queen jack off in the cutoff here, which I think that's too tight. But maybe he perceives like me as being too out of line, and he knows queen jack off's not a hand he can do much if I free bet. Or like Tom might fight back a lot. Brian's quite loose guy. So again, don't fold it. I would have opened the queen jack. I think I remember this hand. Uh, so yeah, now there's like really heavy ICM. I'm just not really folding the small blind. I call. Brian has ace four off. He could just jam this on me if he wanted to, because I have so many folds when I limp. Yeah, fair enough. I've got the occasional trap, but he's just got an ace blocker, which is great. He's not going to make that much EV playing post flop, so I think jams are reasonable. Check back's definitely good too. Uh, and that is an absolute disaster of a flop. Yeah, I think it's just kind of just who stabs first wins. My hand, I was probably going to bet the turn or the river. He just bet the flop, which I think is okay because his hand is not worth much in the check line anymore. Just betting to hope I've got air. Like he could try and check it down as well. Ace high's got some showdown. Uh, Here I've called with the button. On the button with king queen off. Could free bet. Ace five off in the big blind. Tough spot. Could call. Could fold. My range is like not crazy strong to flat here. I'm gonna flat with like a few looser hands because I cover Andrew. I can call with some like suited hands, some hands that Ace five plays okay against, but obviously Andrew's open range is kind of tight. Definitely a good call when you flop two pair. Can Ace four off not make it 3.5 here? The danger with raising is then I can call and I can limp raise and I can limp jam. Like you kind of open part of the game tree that you don't like with Ace four off. Like I might limp jam though with ace two off or pocket twos, hands where he's got equity against, but he can't do anything about it. But I think raising 3.5 big's okay. It's just I'd probably want a better hand to value raise. Um, and you want to be just careful to raise when your opponent does have jams, because at that depth I would have limp jams. Don't want to lose my ace four off, which you're going to lose sometimes. I think the sevens should check the flop here. I'm not sure why you see that. I think it's just not enough hand. Like generally just check when you're out of position and multi-way and you're against people that cover you. Be a bit more careful. And then ace five off is jammed. It's probably could raise smaller or call jam. He just doesn't really have a bluff when maybe 6-7 the only bluff when he jams a board so dry. This is kind of the problem. But if you're happy with the pot and you don't think they're folding an ace, you can just run it. Tom got unlucky to bust in a flip there. Me and James are both similar stacks. Uh, Ravi just jams on me here for just over 20, and this is because he doesn't want to get jammed on. Like if he limps, I'm going to jam on him with a lot of um a lot of hands which he's not happy with. But he jams on me, I have to fold. I have to fold even ace highs. I think King Queen is still like a really good hand though. It feels like almost not a waste of the hand because you're happy with the pot, but maybe he could like do something else. Like if he limps and then I raise, he could limp jam or limp call, or he could raise and then have to maybe call off a jam. It's a tough spot if he raises and I jam. Shout out to the 6-9. So I definitely would have done something creative with that if he limped, I'm sure. Yeah, limp jam might be slightly better because it's over 20 bigs, but when you limp and get jammed on, you just want to cry. It might be that we're free off the money still. It might be that limp calling all in is still good enough there because if I jam like king twos and stuff, uh, ace king suited, he should. I really I don't like this all in. I think ace king suited's too much hand, and mainly we saw earlier James 4-bet jam the a6 off. So James is willing to do these outrageous 4-bet jams and fight back. So I want to give him the opportunity to do that. This would make on the direct bubble. This might be more of a thing where you like I just don't want the variance of fighting against some hands, but he could generally make it like imagine he free bets and James jams with a hand he dominates and he holds, or with whatever. Like he might even jam Jack 9 suited for all I know, and we win the flip. Then we can actually make a run at becoming chip leader approaching the bubble. Like we're far enough away that we can still have good future game there. If we're on the direct bubble, it's like wow, there's not that much to gain from like trying to increase the variance a little bit, but like ace king off, I might jam here, but it's hard to balance in these spots in ICM. It just looks like you've got a really good hand. But sometimes you free bet the ace king suited, they call, you miss the flop, and you're like, man, what do I do now? But you gotta be ready to be in the tough spots. Don't remember this hand. Open the button with 10-9 off. Pretty standard, especially when you're big stack. Although I'm into the other big stack. Oh yeah, I remember this hand now. So we both got wide ranges. I could go ahead and bet this hand. I could bet most of my hands if I want to, but uh, is that a legit giant card of Exodia? Um, it's not. It's actually a jigsaw puzzle that I got in Japan. It's not a giant card. I wish it was. I actually don't have any giant cards because when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, they didn't actually do giant cards. They just did like prize cards. I played 2002 until 2006, and then I played a little bit as and when in the last 20 years, but not competitively like I used to. Yeah, a lot of people play Yu-Gi-Oh and play poker now. Competitive card games can definitely make more money in poker. So yeah, I check back the 10-9, and then facing a turn bet, I could check back with pocket queens. I could check back with pocket aces, and I'm just I'm raising this hand as a bluff for some clearance, like fold out him if he was just taking a stab like he is, which is good. I think his bluff is reasonable too with the ace of spades power card. Fold out my ace highs, like my ace 3 to ace 9 that doesn't have a flush draw. Uh, yeah, I think I could call with my hand on turn. I could see about the flop. I can kind of do what I want. Having the 10 of spades, I think, incentivizes me to raise because I block his, 10-9, 10-8, king 10 of spades, hands that are going to call a raise, which is a nice interaction. Uh, yeah, I tried to learn Magic the Gathering, but I did like one like Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. They would teach people Magic the Gathering. I did like one little like go at it and was like, no, it's too much to have two card games in my life. Can't handle it. Raise with King, eight of clubs. Ravi should pure call, I think. I'm opening. I'm chip leader or like effective chip leader in the. I guess I'm one before. I'm like hijack, but he does well against too many hands with ace eight, and we're two away now. I think he could he could make some tight folds here. I think this one's a little bit too tight, and he's got enough chips. He's not like you're not like gonna be put at risk that often by calling. Uh, you see, he's the shortest stack here too. I don't know what the stacks look like at the other table. Maybe the other table's got more short stacks, and that's more reason for him to play a bit tighter. But yeah, I would call that. I might fold like a7, a6. I think I think it is like getting close in with a hand like that, but he could even free bet bluff if he thought it was close. Uh, but the eight is like not the card you want to free bet bluff because it's like my first fault. I'm gonna have an eight as my worst hands. Uh, I think Ravi's just gonna jam this one. This one's quite different to the ace king suited he just jammed because one he's got 25 bigs now, but he's out of position. So now it's a really horrible situation if you free bet and get called, and he has an offsuit hand and he has a weaker hand. So that's all points for like if you think you have the best hand enough, you can just send it. The ante's really big because we're playing I think five-handed and it's full ante. James is going to open loads as the chip leader, and he's going to just be forced to overfold. And yeah, he's not next to it. It's not out of line, but he probably does have some out of line opens here too. He's making him sweat it by not snap folding. There might be some psychology thing of like, let him know how it feels that you're thinking about calling, so then you don't jam as much next time. Because imagine when he doesn't snap fold, Ravi's like, oh, please don't have it. Like, please don't like find the call with ace jack or pocket nines. He doesn't want to be at risk. So maybe next time he's in the spot, he might be like, oh, I didn't feel good when he was in the tank there. I might fold some of the close ones. I've not really thought about that before, but it might just be a thing. Ravi's got ace eight on the button. Good raise. He's gonna get that through. So I can skip ahead a bit. Oh wait, Brian just threw that with 10-5 off. I missed that. Jeez. Oh my god, I don't remember this hand. Wow. I just want to see if there's any like live stuff going on here. Looks at his cards. I just thought he was going to fold. That's why I was going to skip ahead. I mean, if he knew how tight Ravi's been playing, he probably wouldn't take the spot. Maybe he's just like he feels like he hasn't won a hand in a while. He wants some momentum back. Reasonable spot to fight uh, against the button. But the only issue is that his open range is really tight here. He's opening into me when I'm like basically chip leader. Um, like so, like you just if you saw the hands he's been folding, I think you'd be like, this isn't the best spot because ace eight might be near the bottom of his open range given what we've seen. Uh, yeah, Ravi can have some four bet bluffs as well. What was the buy-in for this one? It was 2.5k buy-in in London back in January. Uh, it's all right. Yeah. Any questions? Feel free to ask. Yep. Standard call with the Queen Jack suited versus a wide cutoff range. We're like super deep here, so like we both have an incentive not to make the pot too big. We both kind of like the situation that's going on. We're gonna like push it against the other players. Be a little bit careful against each other. He goes for the small c bet. My hand's just too strong to fold. We're not like I'm not shallow enough that I'm ever going to be playing for stacks really. Especially my hand's like easy. Like even with a turn of queen or a jack, I'm not going to be like let's play a huge pot, am I? So yeah, queen high can be the best hand. I've got backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. I could consider a check raise on the flop, but against the cutoff range, he has jack nine, queen nine, hands like ace five, which I'm just going to win against on the river when he c bets and doesn't barrel. A lot of people don't find the barrels on this sort of texture. It's hard to find the barrels if you don't have a draw. And it's really nice, obviously, that I just backdoor flush. If he'd barreled the turn, I would have had probably a mix between call, fold, and raise, depending on what size he chose. Uh, and now I'm deciding, do I go for a check raise or do I go for a bet? And now my hand is so strong, I usually go to cam check raise, which is what I've done. So he's going to barrel nut flush draws a lot. He's going to barrel king flush draws mostly. I pretty much got the nuts. The only scary thing with check raise is like, what if I get free bet? What if I get jammed on? There's some like really terrifying things that can happen. But I just think my hand's really good. And it lets him bluff again. Like he's gonna have Jack 9 off still if he didn't barrel the turn. He's gonna have some hands which are like now gonna try and make me fold if I've got, a 7 or a 2 or ace high. As it happens, he was value betting. I think he should not bet as greedy as he did. Like he's just like, I think I've got the best hand. I'm just gonna go max greedy. I could probably have like King 9 sometimes. I think I mainly value bet with most better hands that aren't like the trap. So I think it's reasonable. Like if I've got King 5 or King 3 or I decide to hero with a 7, I might be an elastic to the sizing. If I've got like 7 8 with the 8 of hearts, I'll probably just play check call on the river. Uh, but yeah, it's a little bit greedy because it's in a heavy ICM spot. It's harder for me to call a big bet. I might have just gone like half part or 2/3 if I was him. Could have bet the turn as well, obviously, but a reasonable hand to check. And now I have a pretty mandatory raise. And his size is, I think his size like scared me a little bit because like why is he being that greedy all of a sudden? Like does he have a set of fours or does he river to flush? If he's river to flush, how often is it a better flush than mine? I think I just have to raise though, but I think I chose a smaller raise size because obviously I need him to call. His hand I think is just pretty trash. He doesn't have a blocker. I mean, he's obviously I'm not going to bluff with a king, but it's just he needs something more interactive. Like he can have flushes, I assume, and he probably never folds a flush. Uh, the only problem is like he doesn't want to feel like he's getting run over because he check back the turn. He might think that I think, oh, I don't have a flush anymore, so I can check raise really wild. Like imagine if I've got a 7/5 with the 7 of hearts, or I've got like ace of hearts 10, and I've taken this line, got to the river. Like it's a nice spot for me to see as a bluff. So if he thinks I'm over bluffing, obviously you can just call with any bluff catcher, but you do have to be careful because like what if I just have it? Yeah, and then you give me the huge chip lead, and it's pretty scary. Whereas if he folds now, like I think I have slightly more chips than him, but it's not like I've got a runaway chip lead or anything. I think he folded, if I remember right, but I can see he's very like suspicious. Realized I can speed this up. Yep. He makes a good discipline fold. No spot for me to get value, but nice that he bets so big that I felt like I got a lot of value from my hand either way. If I potted the river, I guess he would have just called. Oh, I remember this hand. Uh, so yeah, I'm like obviously putting a lot more pressure on now. We're 11 left, 9 paid, 7/5. I think I can limp, I can raise. I don't want to fold. If I raise, I can make him fold some better hands. Like, well, obviously, there's infinite better hands he folds than this. There's like Jack 2 off, but also hands like, Queen 7, Queen 5, hands that crush me that fold. And I think he has one of the purest calls in the world because he's just doing really well against my bluffs. He's in position. He doesn't want the pot to get too big. I was surprised to check raise this. I thought overbet was better. He doesn't call check raise with King X. Uh, I do agree. He doesn't really. I mean, if he has King X with a heart, maybe he does. Imagine if he's got like King of Hearts Jack or King of Hearts 9. But it doesn't look like he's got a king. When he doesn't bet the turn, he usually has like. It's just a weird story he told, right? Like bet the flop and then check the turn, but then pot the river. It's almost like I don't have anything that good. Oh no, I've got something really good. So I actually was thinking when he does reopen the action, he's either going to have a bluff or have like a stronger hand than a king because a king mainly bets the turn or doesn't bet as big on the river. Um, it's just I wasn't really playing against the king in my head because he checked the turn. That's the main thing. If I knew he had what he had, I might have just overbet and just thought that's the way to maximize. Uh, if if he had a bluff, I get more value my way. If he had a flush, I get more value my way. I think because I don't really want to reopen the action for small. I think I want like if I overbet river, he probably just calls with a flush. Uh, or like it's hard for I have the jack as well, right? It's hard for him to raise even a 10 flush. I think so. I think it's either overbet myself or check raise, and I could have chose either to be honest. I just thought I thought he was liable to just always bluff when he had worse than ace high to be honest, and I just get a lot of value from those hands. Yeah, this queen jack suited I think is such a nice spot to call in position against a really wide range. You don't want to make the pot too big. You crush loads of stuff. Like it just feels to me like such a nice call. But he stuck it in my eye for nearly 40 bigs. Which I mean, to try and uh, like strongman his play there, I'm going to massively overfold. Like look at how detrimental it would be for me to call here. He's jammed 588k. Like we're literally like almost swapping stacks if I call and lose this one. So it is really good to fight really aggressively against chip leaders because their ranges are so wide, and they don't want to lose the position they're in. Like I'm not going to be able to, even if I've got ace 10 here. Do I really want to call off this spot? I mean, given his hand, I'm not even like playing amazing against his hand. What if he's got pocket eights or a hand like he's got, right? Even if I've got ace jack here, do I really want to call what is like what 37 more bigs or something ridiculous? I mean, I know it's not actually, he hasn't actually got 40 bigs, has he? He's got like 37. So it'd be like another say 33, 34 more bigs for me to call. It's just so many chips, so many chips. Like you don't think you want to do this very often with many hands. Maybe ace two off is usually a magic hand that does this sometimes if you want to have jams and then balance it with like maybe ace queen, ace king or something. This hand I would still always call because, like I said, it just plays great in position, plays really nice, crushes bluffs. But having a jam here, I think, actually does do something. And look, he's got 69% equity somehow. He must have known. I mean, as it happened, like there's tough spots that might have faced him post flop. Maybe he just doesn't want to get into that altercation. I might have like bluffed into him when he had like a straight or two pair or sort of top pair or something. It might have been a good time for him, but obviously if it's a plus EV jam, which I'm sure it is, because I'm opening so wide and I'm overfolding, you can't really argue much with it. Yep, 6-5 off. It's fine open, I think. Uh, the ante's pretty big. He wants to play careful against me. We're both chip leaders, 75 bigs. Looks like he did take the free bet. I think it's a nice candidate. What was the size in? 81k more. So he made it. Probably could have made it a bit bigger because remember, what's the story? He's probably flatting with tens here, right? Yeah, just free bet. Ravi's open with king jack here. Get jammed on. I think James sent this one, which was pretty aggressive. But and against small blind, I think I can see why he does it. He's getting a nice price as well though. 58k more to call, so he's only made it 90k, which is what, five and a half bigs, and he's in position. I think your suited aces could always call. I don't think you need to increase the variance like crazy. I believe this was pure bubble madness jam. Yeah, this is 11 left and 9 paid, so it's like uh, two away, but you know it's obviously going to happen really fast. But yeah, the queen jack suited jam is pretty wild. But like I said, if I'm folding like 90% of my range, then he just picks up four and a half bigs or five and a half bigs, whatever it is. Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but don't hate it. I think A7 suited should have called and took the nice price here, especially against Andy. Given that he's just been, I haven't seen him really free bet light yet, at least, and you know he might have been, but A7 suited in position is going to play well. But it's a lot easier for me to say don't do it when he's got aces. This one, I defend big blind versus button. He goes for a very small c bet, 20 into 88. And I check raised with my 7-5 here, 69k. It's like, how many 69s now? Um, yeah, this is just a reasonable situations check raise. I cover him. He wants to be more careful than I think people are used to. Like the Sims here, people are used to just being like, a king 7-2, I range bet because people overfold. But I'm actually, I'm not, I'm probably not going to overfold. And a hand like mine achieves a lot with a check raise because if he's got any two cards between an 8 and an ace without having a pair, he's in a tough spot. Like I think his hand is supposed to call a check raise in chip EV, but because of the ICM, he can't really call. He's actually got like two backdoor straight draws and a backdoor flush draw, and doing like well against the 7 or a 2 that I might check raise. But in reality, he's just going to fold, isn't he? Because it's just a horrible, close, tough spot with heavy ICM. So yeah, you really punish people that range bet by check raising spots like this. And I just want to protect my hand. If I turn a 5 or a 7, obviously I'm just living the dream and then I'll try and play for stacks. Or if not, sometimes I check down and he has a 2 or ace high, and that's a good time too. Sometimes maybe I'll end up bluffing my hand, probably not very often. But yeah, I'm just kind of happy with the pot. If he folds, that's great. If I improve my hand, that's great. If he calls and I have to face aggression later, I'll probably end up folding. I defend Queen 10 suited versus an open. I think I could free bet, but again, my hand just plays nice. I'm closing the action. Rather bluff with a worse hand. And now versus the check back, I think I should bluff with my hand because when he checks back, he's not really situated around the low cards on the board. Feels like my hand is like, obviously I never really have showdown. I can make him fold king queen, ace 10. I might be able to make him fold ace queen. I guess we're going to find out. And it's just like when the turn brings straights that he doesn't really have and like two pairs and he jack the flop, so he's a bit capped. Um, Having a 10's kind of nice. Pocket 10s is like a clean flop check that probably always calls a turn bet, or like jack 10. But my hand is just, it doesn't really want to check call out of position, and it doesn't really want to check raise because it's almost like, I mean, it probably could check raise, probably just isn't strong enough maybe. So I think I just want to bet, try and make him fold ace high. Close to bet 69k again, which is the story of this tournament. Uh, yeah, he's in a tough spot with ace queen. I'm actually not sure what he should do. And he folds, so that's great. I'm starting to run away with it. That's the other thing. When he jammed his a7 suited, he basically handed me the chip lead. Not really what you want to do playing short-handed, approaching the bubble. Uh, yeah, ace 8 off. He could attack my cutoff open if he wanted to. I think free bet would be okay there, but fold is kind of standard. 10-5 suited should fold, I think. But Andy's here to fight. He was playing for the win, which I respect. Now this should go c bet call. I've sized up a little bit, I think, because we're a bit deeper and this board's a bit connected, but I think I should still probably size down a bit. Pretty awkward turn. I think it's a card I want to barrel a lot. Again, my hand's horrible versus check raise now, but he could have Jack 9, 10 9, 8 9, Queen Jack, Queen 10, King X. Like, I think I do want to bet, but just not too big. I'm leveraging the fact I can have Ace Queen and Queen 9 as well. It's so hard for him to check raise in this situation. Even if he has like King Jack, he doesn't really want to check raise. And I bet 69k. That must be like the 10th 69k bet at this point. And he makes a pretty standard but good fold. James 3 bets me King Queen off. Reasonable hand. He could flat as well. I call the small line with 10-6. Probably just gonna probably stab the flop. A check. I guess because I have a club. That's usually how I'm deciding in these spots. If I've got two suits on the board and three to a straight, I'm probably always stabbing this hand just because I've got a club. I think's the reason that I've not bet. But I'm still going to bluff this hand at some point if he lets me. I've raised the button and I've been called in both spots. The 10-9 suited call in the small blind. I think this is probably a fold in ICM, even though you can see I've got 10-8 off, but it's just not the most amazing spot. Uh, Looks like the chance still there. Sorry, I thought I've like lagged out or something then. Giraffe was proud when the 420k got wheeled out later. Yeah, I think I did end up betting 420 in this tournament as well. Uh, yeah, I think 10 9 to it should fold pre. It's probably a little bit too crazy to jam, but not insane, you know. You got so much fold equity. Ace nine of diamonds, I think it's a bad turn bluff. Like it did work, but I think he should just show it down. He's got a lot of different hands to bluff in the big blind. 10-8 off in the cutoff, reasonable. 10-9 of clubs in the small blind against 10-8 off again. James is a bit deeper. Like Brian only had like 30 bigs. He's got closer to 50 bigs, so it's definitely more reasonable to call in this spot. But still, like it's not the most amazing spot to call. I think I might check back. I might, if I do bet, I probably choosing like a size up or a check. I think this is a reasonable hand to bet because I've got two suits on the board and like these are kind of higher cards. Like I want him to have ace two, ace three, ace four, ace six, or you know, pocket twos, pocket threes, pocket fours, pocket sixes. These are the first folds. So having like higher cards is just nicer for having a bluff. Uh, did I not bet 69k there? Missed the trick there with him. I left myself with lead though. I don't see why I got to bet there. Oh, I remember this hand. I think I put my foot in it in this one. So Ravi confused me. He opened 4.5x, and he put my hand in a pretty awkward spot. Because if he opened to 3x, Jack 4 suited, it's just going to call in position. And because he opened so big, I was like my hand's now fold. I probably still call with Jack 7 suited and like even like Queen 7 suited, I might call. Because I cover him by so much, I'm pretty happy to play pots, you know, uh, and I'm in position. So I can see why he wants to have this more polarized open range. Um, but yeah, I think what I've done here is probably a mistake. I clicked it because I just thought, what if he's just over bluffing for the size? Like, this is a cheap way for me to find out if he calls, I'm in position with a suited hand. At least it's got some playability. Or I find out because if he jams, obviously he just had it. He had a hand that was value. If he has a bluff, if he has like king two off here, he's obviously just going to snap fold. And I was maybe this is like just too out of line for me that I thought he might be over bluffing. Given that he's got it, I could just be completely wrong. And fair enough, he did find the jam. Like some people would still have been like frozen a bit by the click, but you know he stuck to the plan. He wasn't folding ace jack blind v blind, which is good. So yeah, I think I should have probably just folded to that 4.5x open. Uh, Incorrectly suspicious that he was bluffing. I limp jack 10, bet the flop. I've got a good jack. I've got a backdoor spade, so I'm just value betting the flop. The turn checks through. Uh, and now I think I go for a check raise here. I think I got greedy again because he might have a 10. So his line is check back pre, call the flop, don't bet the turn. He bets a king a lot on the turn. If he does have a king, he's probably still going to value bet the river. If he has a 10, he's always going to bet the river and call a raise. If he has a king, he's going to bet the river and he might call a raise. If he ever has a bluff, you know, jack 9, or if he wants to bluff with ace high, it's hard for him to call with ace high on the river, but I guess that's the main hand I'm going after if I do bet, if he has a 2 or ace high. But yeah, I've got such a strong hand, I get greedy. If he's got any 10-3 to 10-9, he is never going to fall to a check raise, in my opinion. And then he's blasted it. He's gone. This is pretty similar to the other hand, right? In the other spot, uh, James blasted the river when he got the green light. He had the best hand. So this seems like a common thing. People are like, I'm going to underrep my hand. I'm going to check back with my top pair, and then I'm going to get super greedy and pot it and like just have value. Whereas in reality, I mean, it's a small sample now, but we've seen that they both just had it. He wants to get called here, although it's a bit greedy from betting a king because his kicker doesn't play. I might just have king seven and just play a check call on the river to induce bluffs. I probably value bet myself with most better kings, but it's not impossible. But yeah, he thinks he's got the best hand, and now I have a very easy check raise. Once I've got here this way, again, like the sizing is a little bit scary. You can have queen 10 sometimes. I mean, ace 10 he probably raises pre. And I've just gone 3x 300k. And now I probably, like, being honest, I love to bluff, and I don't know what I'm bluffing with here. Like, it is not an attractive spot to bluff where he's potted the river. Like, to me, it looks like he has a 10 or a bluff. And when he's polar, even though he's merged himself by having a king, that's not a very nice range to bluff into. If I was going to bluff, what do I even want to have? Like, I need to have, like, what, a 10-9? no, a 9-8, sorry, like to block 10-9 and 10-8, that are most likely going to check back pre. Like, am I really going to find those? Honestly, I just don't think I was bluffing here, which in this case didn't matter because he called me. And like, I've got a nice image where people do struggle to fold in these spots, but even though I'm over bluffing like crazy in some spots, this is a spot where I'm honestly just not. Like, I just don't I don't think it's a great spot to bluff against the size in at least once he's potted it. If you bet small and like it feels like he's value betting thin, it's a completely different story. But he just didn't feel like he could fold top pair, and I mean it's fair, like it's hard to fold top pair because if I'm over bluffing, you're just you're getting run over. What have I done here? Opened the button with 9-3 suited and got jammed on. Yeah. I think there's an interesting hand coming up between me and Ravi. I think I made a bad fold here, to be honest. I think here, actually, he's 2.5x there. I take that back. I think this is a reasonable fold. So this is 11 left, 9 paid. This is super heavy ICM, which obviously we've been in for a while. And now Brian's open 2.5x off of 17 to 18 bigs. Already Jack 10 feels kind of ropey, but the button's cold, and the button is also not super deep stacked. So both of these ranges are so strong. I think Jack 10 is just dominated so often. Looking at the hands, I can see Jack 10 is playing pretty good, but how often does Andrew just have King 10 suited, King Jack suited, Ace 10 suited, Ace Jack offsuit? How often does Brian just have like one of those hands too? So I think this is like if he min raised it, I'd still call. I think I ended up folding because I felt like I was just crushed too much against these two players that are playing a bit more loose, like not as like tight ICM. I think I'd still like to see myself call and just like navigate, make decisions. You know, it's I've got loads of chips to kind of gamble with, but I can see why I folded, and I saved money this time. King 7 suited is a hand I'm always going to play. It's just whether I want to call or raise. I think I can go either way. James is kind of spicy, so is Brian. I think call or free bet are both good plays. Discipline fold by Brian, Queen 4 suited in the big blind. James could see bet, but he doesn't. And now I'm in an awkward spot with my King 7 suited, probably just checking down. A king is not the card you want to bluff. I want him to have King Queen, King Jack. And now he sees that as a green line to bluff, which happened a few times. So James probably a good guy to check to induce bluffs with. I went for a double check there with a 10. Go for a check raise. Ace 8 suited, I've just called here on the button. I would free bet this spot a lot with like worse suited aces, some suited kings. It's nice that I found the call this time because I would have ran into it. Uh, Pretty reasonable hand to bet. I can get, I mean, Ravi should call with ace queen of clubs versus my bet, but given that James is going to call first, I think that's going to let him fold. And then I'm just checking down. Yeah, yeah. We got another break. I think we're nearly at the final table. What's happened here? I've opened the cutoff, called by the blinds. Andrew could jam this pre, but it's probably better to jam a worse hand. Like he crushes a lot of the hands. He could just be happy with the pot though, because my cutoff range is so wide. I think I should probably just see bet second pair and the nut flush draw. You can see why I've checked though. Nice to have this hand in a check range. James bets the turn. I think it doesn't. I think it's a nicer hand to check because when he gets called, he's really under it. Like I could have a jack, I could have pocket eights, I could have ace queen with a spade that's probably going to bluff the river. And yeah, I have a pretty easy call with my hand as played. I guess this just goes check check now. Although maybe sixes should even bluff sometimes, but it's a pretty weird spot for sixes now. That's the stacks. This moment in time. King, queen of diamond. Okay, this is the interesting hand against Ravi that I was kind of waiting for. So Ravi has a pretty trivial call pre. He dominates some of my open range. His hand's really nice. I could go for a range bet on this board because he doesn't really have any free X. Like he's not defending necessarily with ace three or three four suited or a lot of the normal free X you might have. So that's more gives me, you know, a license to bet more often. He's not gonna check raise as much because of the ICM. Like if he has just a six, he's scared to get it in. So I've got license to bet a lot. And now his hand is tricky. He calls because he still beats bluffs and he knows I'm betting a lot and he's getting a good price, which means my hand became a value bet, which it is going to be against some hands like worse flush draws, exactly like king ten of spades, king jack, one diamond, hands like this. I think he could check raise his hand as well as a bluff because the jack of diamonds is really nice, or like ace king of spades is a hand I'll probably bet and call a raise with, and he clears out king queen if I don't have the flush draw. He clears out some ace highs, so he could consider a check raise on the flop. And then on the turn, I decided to be very sneaky. If you're going to check back with a flush, you usually want to do it with like two big cards. So like king, queen of diamonds in this case, like he can't have a queen flush. That's one of the hands that I'm going to get the most value from. Or on a different board, like if the turn was a seven of diamonds, maybe I check back instead with ace, king of diamonds, ace, queen of diamonds. So it's nice to, throw some deception in there sometimes. Like Ravi is the type of player that might find like huge bets and big bluff bets sometimes. Like if the river's a brick and he's got four or five, he might just overbet jam or like do something kind of crazy. Or if he bets the river and I raise, he might think like, what the hell do you have? Like you're chip leader opening loose. Do you really have pocket sixes, pocket aces, like whatever the trap is? So there's not many really good hands that I do check here, but this is one of them. And I think I could check with, pocket sevens, a six, some like air, like a random like seven, eight of spades that just doesn't want to bet the turn. And now he's rivered a king. He checks. And I wasn't sure what the best bet size here was, but I think he has an ace a decent amount of the time. Like he could just have, ace five with the five of diamonds, ace 10 with the 10 of diamonds, ace 10 of spades. Uh, Sometimes he's going to have the hand like he's got with a king. Sometimes he's going to have I mean, that's it's you're kind of clutching already. Like a lot of his hands that get here would have just bluffed. Like if he has 4-5, if he has like a guess queen jack of spades or something like this, he's gonna bluff the river, I imagine. So I think I decided in game. I don't like if I'm gonna reopen the action. It looks like I'm chopping with an ace a lot because imagine like I've got ace five or ace seven or ace ten. I'm chopping against his ace x, and it doesn't really look like he has anything better very often. I mean, he could check a flush here sometimes, but I think I stack a flush no matter what because if I bet and he jams on me, or if he's got a free, he's probably going to bet himself, but he's going to call any size. But yeah, I think I felt he was just going to be inelastic, so I ended up jamming the river. It's a little bit greedy. It's a little bit greedy because it's more than two times pot, and a lot of the hands that I can do this with, like, I don't really want to do this with aces. Pocket kings feels like a really attractive hand to do this when I unblock the ace, and again I'm just going for max value. Um, It's mainly just pocket kings, isn't it? Like even pocket sixes, I might bet the turn sometimes. B40 feels nice here. Yeah, I can. I think it is just greedy, but it's it's a really it's a tricky spot because if I've got an ace, it's the hands I get. Like he doesn't really have a king very often. He has like one of the only kings he can have. If I've got an ace, it's so hard for me to get value anyway. Like I'm just kind of hoping he calls with a six at that point. And you could argue he kind of believes me or he doesn't, right? I guess like if he's got to the river with 6-5, if I go B50 is probably the least size I would bet generally. maybe B40 sometimes in ICM. It's already so hard for him to call the river because I'm opening with ace two offsuit and I'm probably checking the turn with loads of ace X. So unless I'm just stabbing all of my air on the river, some of my bluffs bet the turn because they've got a diamond or they just want to make him fold a six. It's it's a really weird spot. I mean, I just thought he was inelastic and he's just not going to believe me. Or if he gets the river with an ace with a diamond, he's going to feel obligated to call because he's got a blocker and he's got a diamond and like he knows that like if I'm going to bluff, this might be the size I choose. I might just be like I need to go max fold equity. I've got 9-8 of spades. I can't win this hand unless I bluff, and he's just going to snap call move an ace. So I need to make him feel like he's indifferent with an ace, and it is a leveling war. Like it's only a good size if he call. He had a hand which is to me a really good call. Jack of diamonds blocks value. King blocks value. He doesn't block any bluffs. Maybe like a Jack 10 off with a Jack of diamonds, but there's like obviously more Queen Jack of diamonds, King Jack of diamonds. Uh, I can see why he called so fast, but like maybe I'm lucky I ran into that part of his call range. Maybe he would have folded an ace to a jam, and then it's still a bad size by me because it's more likely as an ace. Or maybe he blocks the river with an ace himself, and then it's a different game tree completely. Like I don't know. I just did what I thought was going to maximize the value in game, given like our dynamics, my image, etc. Like I could see myself bluff jamming this spot, and I could see him knowing that I would bluff jam this spot because he's just in the bin if he's got an ace, and if he's got an ace with a diamond, I thought he'd call a jam. That was probably as simplistic as I can go here. And yeah, really lucky that I ran into a hand that calls, and I got kind of the perfect run out. So now we're on the stone bubble, and Medi joins the table, who I became quite well acquainted with over this week. I never met him before, and then played with him for a lot of time. Oh shoot, I forgot he called. Yeah, I mean he just has a really nice hand to call as it happens. So it's like how he responds to the river if he has an ace with no diamond, or if he has an ace with a diamond. I think he mainly has an ace with a diamond if he gets there, or if he has a six. I was like he's probably folding, or once in a blue moon he just doesn't believe me with a six anyway, or like if he has ace six he's probably always calling. So I could probably like do loads of node locking and say like what if he always folds an ace no diamond, and what if he calls B50 sometimes with a six, and like get a perfect answer. But like, obviously you've only got 30 seconds in game. You're just like, what's actually going to work the best? Am I perceived to have bluffs if I jam? I think I am. That's probably the most important thought process. Like, can he hear a call? Yes. Uh, Seems like pretty standard check from King 4 suited. I think he got me here. I think we checked to the river and he bets the river. Yeah, you can see I'm just in a horrible spot. He's bet one big blind, blind v blind. King high's like the first hands I might call here with. But I think if he gets to the river with no pair, he's not value betting ace high. He's got the worst hand I think he value bets. Maybe he could value bet with ace king or ace queen, but that's already feeling thin. Like he wants me to have ace or king high to call. Um, yeah, I made a super side call here, and he got me, which is fair play. Like, would he always bluff with like loads of the worst hands, and is he bluffing enough? I'm not sure, but felt like a close spot. Honestly, Medi kept getting the better of me in this tournament until we got to like three-handed, I think. That's someone being at risk on the bubble. That one's probably good to give some context. So this one on hand before. Medi free bet me in the big blind with king five off. Was it this one or was it the next orbit? Yeah, so Medi limps the small blind with king five off. I ISO with a trash and 9-3 off. I'm probably overdoing this with a trash in some spots against him. Maybe not, because I perceive him as capable of bluffing. And he limp raises me. He limp free bets king five off to 240k. And I want you to remember spots like this as like the dynamics increase between us because we're both clearly like, going for it against each other. Um, right, Morocco went 3 down for the title. So just to give more context to like hands I've played against Medi. Uh, what happened there? I just opened with Ace King. Yeah, I've just raised none all in, hoping that he jams on me. Open the 7-5 off. C-bet take it down. The way that this bubble burst was actually pretty interesting. So what Brian's folded Ace 8 suited on the button, which I think is either a jam or a min raise fold. I think I would jam because the big blind he actually covers here. They're two of the short stacks, so the big blind's going to massively overfold because they've got loads of pressure. The small blind is still under a lot of pressure when you jam. An ace eight suited to me is just too much hand. You're playing five-handed. I know it's like on the direct bubble, it's heavy ICM, but you have to worry less about ICM when you're about to go to a final table because you get this pay jump, but then how often you just like you can't do anything at the final because you have to just try and ladder and you kind of blind away. Like there's more reason to gamble a bit more the less people that are paid. As it happens, there is this collision effect that's going to happen too. So I'd still massively overfold as Brian on the button there, but ace eight suited to me was too much hand. Now the reason this bubble was sick is because James went all in and he told him that he hadn't looked at his cards. So now, even though like he's allowed to do that, I mean you could argue that him not looking at his cards makes his range stronger because now he can have aces and aces isn't going to jam, and he probably could just jam with maybe 2-3 off might be a little bit wide, but he can jam ridiculously wide here. But Andy should still fold king 10, I think, but I can see why he took the spot. Like you're getting it in good most of the time. It's for a pretty big pot, and essentially he's playing to win. Like there's definitely something in that. Like if you're not a professional poker player and you're there for the experience, that you call this hand, you win the tournament so much more often because you're getting it in with 60% equity or whatever it is. So fair play to him. Like he loses a bit of money on average in ICM, but what's losing a bit of money when you get the experience of winning the tournament more often? And, like, unfortunately for him, he lost, and that's obviously it sucks for him because he got it in good and he bubbled, and that's a horrible time. But like being brave enough to take these spots, knowing that it's close or maybe you lose a tiny bit of money on average because you're playing for the win. I think that's still worked into poker, and people don't think about this stuff sometimes. Like there's more to it sometimes. Looks like we're gonna have a break before the final table. It's the payouts. Uh, see if I can find my timestamps. 5 hours 52. Is that the first one? Yeah. All right. I've actually got timestamps for the hands here, so this we should be able to speed through. Had you not he was this was actually the wrong tournament. Nathan Davies is it? He was sweating the Morocco game when we were on the final of the main. This is the high roller. There was actually no football going on for this one. I think my first hand was around here. Uh, I think I'm chip leader if I remember correctly, or like Medi's got a lot of chips here too. Who was the toughest player at the FT? Definitely Medi. Um, but there's a bit of bias there as well, right? Because if any of these other guys, like I've got position on James, if like Adria had the chip lead or Connor had the chip lead, like it goes differently. Doesn't mean Medi was the best player. It means like we had the most altercations because we both had big stacks and the way the stuff ran out together. Um, and I just happened to be in the close spots against him all the time, like against the short stacks. Like it's me putting them in tough spots because I'm the one that's got the leverage. So yeah, I free bet King 4 off here. Again, like I'm trying to punish James's open because he doesn't want to get many hands in here. We're playing He's got 60 bigs. There's like plenty of stacks that are way shorter than him at this final table. Like he's open kind of small too, only three bigs. My king four off is like kind of close, probably like a mixed fold three bet if I had to guess. Uh, Call in seems a little bit ropey. Uh, and ace queen's in a horrible spot for him now because if I'm free betting for value, I've got like ace king pocket tens, something like this. Like even pocket nines, I've just call an open. I think. Ace queen, I'll probably call an open. Maybe ace queen suited, I could get in because he's a bit looser. Yeah, he's just like if he wants to continue, if he jams, it's like praying to be in a flip if I call, or like just trying to end the hand because he's kind of happy with how much he's winning from the pot. And that is, I think he ends up jamming. I think call is actually reasonable here. He dominates all my bluffs. His hand is like, even though it's offsuit and he's out of position, it's bolstered enough that like good things are going to happen, or he just flops a pair and I bluff or whatever. But I can see why he jammed. It's definitely fine to jam. You could just click some buttons. Like if he clicks it back to me, then maybe I click it back to him and then he jams. That might be how it plays out in equilibrium. But obviously, it's just a game of chicken sometimes. Where if he jams now and I overfold, like that's enough for him. Like let's not end up playing post flop in a bigger pot if we don't have to. 6 hours and 1 minute for the next spot. Oh, I think I missed it. There we go. Oh yeah, Satnam's a bit of a looser guy, but he's open to nearly 3x off less than 10 bigs under the gun. So this is a grim spot. Um, did Medi just win a try? And yes, he did. He won the, I think it was like a 60k turbo, or it might have been the 30k. I don't know. I did see it though. Yeah, this is like lower stakes for him for these tournaments. I just folded pocket eights to an open here because there's so many players to act. His open range is really tight. He's open bigger. He's open off less than 10 bigs. There's so many just bad reasons for being involved in this hand. If he min raised, maybe I would have called, maybe, but it's just not an attractive situation. If I'm like on the button and he's min raised, I definitely play. But yeah, it's just not an attractive spot at all. 6 hours, 6 minutes. Oh yeah, I've saved this spot because this spot was crazy. So this is exactly what. Sorry, I was catching up with the comments. Mr. Driscoll on the table now. Yeah, we've got Connor. He's joined us for the first time today, I think, in this tournament. uh, so yeah, this is what you don't want to do in ICM, and that's free bet too linear and put yourself in a tough spot. So I think James should call the open all the time here with pocket nines because Medi's playing about 40 bigs. Medi doesn't really want to get it in here with eights. He could probably he might have some bluff jams that nines plays well against, but it's mainly going to be like tens plus if he's getting it in. So nines is like just outside of that value threshold, but if you call, it plays really nicely. You don't really want to free bet good hands unless it's very clearly I'm getting it in or I'm not. And nines is too murky for me here. That I would just always flat. I think he's gone a little bit small as well. He's made it 195 over a 60k open, so it's given him a good price. He's gone less than 4x. Um, it's just a little bit too linear. I would just be more polar. You can still have good hands in there, but I think if you are free betting nines, to me, the intention is to fold to a four bet, but then Medi gives him this sick price. Medi clicks it back and makes it 360 instead of jamming, which kind of makes sense. Queen's obviously so good, he's just trying to induce some action. He could jam with queens as well. He could even call with queens, I guess, if he didn't want to get it in, but he's probably pretty happy to get it in, especially when he's free bet a little bit small, so you want more money to go in pre. And then at this point, I would say my nines don't feel great anymore. If he's bluffing, I mean, maybe he could bluff with ace 10 or king queen or something with two overs sometimes, but I would just take the price and I would call at this point and say, like, if I jam at this point, once he's clicked it, his click range is literally queens plus ace king. And I don't want to get in against that range, especially when I'm in such a good spot as James now. And I mean, I guess he's out of position to me, but like he's like second in chips at the table. You definitely don't want to just potentially hand over all these chips to Medi. Call, keep the pot small. Like I'd call the open, but as played, I'm just going to call the click now. Take your price because you happen to have a hand that doesn't mind getting a good price. A lot of the time here, when you're polarized, like if you've got ace five off here, you like it doesn't matter what my price is, I'm folding. But you've ended up with a hand that actually is like thanks for the price. Like now I can play. But he five bet jams, which is pretty wild. Chips be flying. 40 bigs, small blind versus hijack here when we're like nine-handed. I remember Satnam's only got like 10 bigs. Another guy's pretty short. Um, that's why you just can't be as linear here. He nearly bloody got there as well. Uh, this tournament could have gone so many different ways. But yeah, now he's down to like 7k. He's really short. It completely changes things. 6 hours 26 for the next one. Satnam is open. He's got more chips now. Sort of similar spot to the pocket eights, but he's open smaller. I've got a better price. He's opened off more chips, and he's opened slightly, I think, one later position because we lost a player. So it's all more reason for me to play more. Ace Queen probably slightly better than pocket eights as far as hands go. Not that much different. So I treated myself to a little call here. And obviously I'm slightly further to act as well. I'm in hijack. I think before I was like 2 seats over maybe. And this hand we ended up just checking down. And my ace queen was good. Maybe ace 10 could have bluffed at some point. But yeah, this is the stacks: 12 bigs, 16 bigs, 17 bigs, 21 bigs. No, 6 hours and 59 minutes. So it looks like I don't have a spot for half an hour. So it goes. There might be some like trivial spots that I'm skipping over here as well, but do want to get through all these hands. Uh, this looks like just a call. We're really deep. I think you could consider a free bet, but yeah, like what hands do I want to get it in here against Media's 1 and 2 in chips when I'm playing nearly 50 bigs? I don't want to get it in with tens. I don't even want to get it in with jacks. So my free bet range is really polar. King 10 suited plays fine as a call. Brian stuck it in. I think it's a little bit of a loose jam with ace 8 off versus raise call. Because remember, like I've got some wider hands. I might even call like some suited aces and stuff. But really, um, uh, I Beans on Toast 77. What a name. Appreciate it. Uh, yeah, my range is actually really strong here to call. Like I'm gonna call Medi with pocket jacks with ace queen and like some really strong hands. And I'm not. I don't. I mean, I guess I've like some smaller pairs. Some. I mean, I probably fold twos. I'll probably fold 5 6 suited, but I've got some okay hands too, like this one. But I do have a lot of really strong hands, even though Medi's open. So like it's probably a reasonable jam versus the open. But once I've called, you don't have fold equity. Like Satnam's still short. You've still got ICM pressure. I think you just need a little bit of a better hand. You want like even ace nine suited. I'm not thrilled getting it in if I was Brian Hill or ace 10 offsuit. But I have to call and he actually gets it in good, really good because Medi folded king 10. But it doesn't matter when you river a 10, does it? This is just my tournament, clearly. And look at the size of that pot. That was a 690k pot. I didn't even notice that one. There's a 69 that went completely unnoticed. Can't lose on the pot 690k. Looks like the next spot is 7 hours 13. uh, can someone guess what I do here? Man, that was a snap fold from Jack 10 suited. And again, like, your free bets here, like, there's a little bit of blended stuff going on. It's as much as you want like an offsuit ace and you want a king. An ace or a king is like a power card because I'm probably only getting it in against Medi here with I don't know the other stacks. Let's say queens, ace, king. So it's nice to have an ace or a king if you're bluffing. But there is always this rule in poker where the hands that are at the margins. Watch this stuff here, Medi. This is a reasonable fold from Jack 10 suited. In fact, I haven't pulled up GTO Wizard in a while. Let's see if we can find this hand. Let me quickly try and see like the stack setup. Uh, appreciate it. The jumpers from TK Maxx. Man, my laptop is hot. I hope it doesn't implode. So look at these stacks. Satnam's got 7 bigs. This is like everyone's in the absolute bin. Medi and James are on a pretty close stack. Ryan, a reasonable gap, but still, it's all like wait for Satnam to bust, or if you're me, it's put the pressure on because Satnam's still here. That's like the overarching theme of what's going on at this table. So when Medi opens, he's opening to my big blind, so he's already opening a bit tight. When I free bet for value, which obviously you need to balance that, you can't only have value. I'm saying I've got queens plus ace king. That's why I free bet so big. He's made it 80k, I made it 400k because the story is I've got queens plus ace king. I've got a really strong hand. He can't really play calls against that size because it's gone 80 to 400. It's an absolutely ludicrously big free bet size. I might be able to go like 320, 360 instead, but I was bluffing. I wanted him to fold. So there's 5 people left. I'm gonna just see if I can find something that's remotely similar. Let's check 200 player field, final table. Uh, 5 players left. And ideally, we want obviously big stack in the big blind, and we want a short stack there, and we want like a medium stack opening. But it might not be perfect to find. So I'm gonna look at big stack in the big blind, average stack a bit lower. Did Medi open from? He's open from first to act 5-handed, which is the hijack. So this is basically how I solve these spots and get answers. Medi has maximum risk premium, Vesprana, and hence enforce passive lines. Yeah, he is just absolutely in the bin. I mean, obviously, I don't actually have 100 bigs, so this isn't going to be perfect too. Um, I think I had like 50. I want to just basically see that when the arrow is above me here, that means I'm the biggest stack at the table. But these stacks are all too short. So I want a reasonable average stack of like around 35 bigs, and then I want a big stack over here. This one. Our stacks are a little bit close together here, but I can use this as a first benchmark. So this one, it's like 63, 54, 46 big blinds are a bit close together. But we've got an 11 and a 16, so there's loads of risk premium. But it's a lot closer of a gap that we need to play a lot more careful against each other. So you can see, even ace-8 off not always opening. Queen 10, Jack 10 not always opening as Medi in this case. Remember, it's not a perfect sim, but we'll look at something else after. Uh, and this is what I meant by hands at the margin. So you can see most of the bluffs come from having these ace X, having these king X. This is obviously what you want, and this is that even ace king off is flatting as me in this sim. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's there's some similarities. I'm only getting it in with kings. I'm only getting it with ace king. And look at this free bet size, 2 to 10, and I don't want to say I nailed it, but in this case, it looks like I did nail it. It's not a perfect sim, so I didn't really. If this was the sim, yeah, 6-9's actually not showing up there, but it's this rule of when you're on the line of the hands which can call and the hands which are folding. So yeah, your king 4 to king 6, your ace 2 to ace 7, like these are good hands. These are good blockers. It's great. And obviously a little bit of these. This is your value. The other hands, they always come from these fringe off like the line. You can see 5-3 off, 4-3 off, 10-7 off, queen 6 off. My reasoning for, I mean, obviously 6-9's like the meme. Like I'm doing it for the meme, but there's method in the madness. I'm not looking down at 6-9 going, oh, I have to free bet this because I've got 6-9. I'm looking at it going 6-9 feels close against an open. It feels like it's on the threshold. In reality, 10-7. It prefers for some magic solver reason. But in reality, look at this. Call's worth 0, fold's worth 0, free bet to 10 is worth 0. They're all indifferent. Click at 9-6 off. Call's worth 0, free bet fold's worth zero. Free bet is worth minus 0.01. Literally, it's pretty much identical. It's literally an identical hand. The only difference is how he responds. And if he responds by overfolding, all of these hands become absolute mega prints. And it's because it's the first time I've done it against him, and he doesn't know that I'm finding the bluffs and I've chose a big size. Of course he's going to overfold. And before whoever said he was a nit in the chat, Jack 10 suited is a fold. And look at the hands that I'm supposed to bluff with here in the big blind. Like there's loads of hands that Jack 10 suited plays great against. And again, this isn't a perfect sim, but it's just like high risk premium five-handed. You're against someone that covers you. But yeah, he's supposed to fold pocket nines. He's supposed to fold king nine suited. He's supposed to fold loads of suited aces. He's supposed to click it back, none all in, make it 20 bigs with some of these bluffs which have an ace in them. And yeah, the reason 10-7 is preferred is because pocket nines is one of the hands he folds for some reason, and pocket tens is a hand he calls, and a7 suited is a hand he calls. The blocker part of this equation goes completely out of the window if he's calling with nines anyway, and he's calling with sevens anyway. I mean, I don't know what he would do with these hands. If he's folding a7 suited, if he's folding king 10 suited, which he might, if he's folding king queen off pure, if he's not finding these four bet bluffs, like all of the, yeah, I covered him. Um, all of these are reasons why the logic that the solver's using here to like sometimes have 10-7, sometimes have queen 6, it goes out the window. Obviously, the equilibrium is going to change based on every different decision that we make and what's actually going on. But I think this 9-6 off is a profitable free bet, and I must have felt like I was like looking for a spot to some extent. Yeah, 65 versus 45 in practice, so this isn't perfect, but you can see it's a high risk premium spot where I cover him and the shorter stacks. So we want to be really polar, and it's you pull from generally the hands which are on the thresholds. And obviously, like if there's an excuse to use 6-9, I'm going to find it. But I might not have free bet some of these hands anywhere near as much. I still might have been under bluffing, even though I'm pure taking 6-9, because I might have called with some of these and not found some of these bluffs. But I think it's a good spot to overbluff if it's the first time and he's not going to fight back the first time. Once he's seen the stream and he knows I'm taking these spots, the equilibrium is going to change again. Uh, and yeah, I realized like I think the stream is it. No, it's not cutting off. Some of these hands good. Uh, but yeah, I could again like speak endlessly about the same hand if I let myself. So I'm going to try and try and move on to the next hand. Does he find the clicks if you start free betting like 20%? I mean, yeah, he's gonna start four betting like crazy if I start free betting like crazy. But it's just he knows that I know that he knows. Like that's kind of why I found the click back against Ravi earlier. I thought he was overdoing it, or why I found the free bet bluff with the king four against James earlier. I was worried he might be overdoing it. And you'll see I find another one of these kind of crazy clicks at this FT because maybe I'm paranoid everyone's overdoing it because I'm overdoing it in reality. But like it is nice to have that in your arsenal, so then people are scared to overdo it as well. Uh, So yeah, I think this is a good play. I think it's cool because it's the meme hand, but I think it's actually just a good play. Um, and honestly, I wouldn't let myself do it if I didn't think it was a good play. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a punt, but I've got 6-9. I'm not going to do that at 2.5k final table. Um, but yeah, it's like it's on the threshold. I think it's close between call. It's not worth much as a call, therefore it's a good bluff. Like if I've got 9-8, it's too good. I don't want to bluff with 9-8. It plays too well in the call line. Next one, I think it's might be like literally two hands. Looks like I've got ace queen. Yeah, ace queen against queen eight. So it's whether I free bet or call here. If I free bet ace queen, I'm free betting to get it in. Is Mehdi a reg? Yeah, he's. I mean, I think he's like a businessman as well, if that's the right term for it. But he's clearly like very, very good at poker. Whether he would call himself a reg or not, it might depend on what he's playing. But I think he plays good. But he just has like other incomes. So I call ace queen here because I didn't want to get it in for this many chips. I could have definitely free bet got it in if I wanted to as well. But I'm in a really nice spot. I don't necessarily want to take the variance of what if James just has nines and gets it in, or ace king and gets it in, or gets there with ace five suited and we get it in. Like I call, I stay chip leader no matter what happens, and I dominate his bluffs, like you can see. I led the flop here because it connects better with me. I cover him. I've got loads of suited hands. He doesn't connect around this board pretty much at all. Uh, I think I just have license to lead, and I thought my hand felt fine to lead because I actually thought I'm getting some value. Like I'm gonna get called by ace nine with a diamond, ace 10 with a diamond, maybe even ace jack no diamond. But in reality, he actually ends up folding Queen 8 with the 8 of diamonds, which I thought was very, 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 very tight. I would never fold a diamond here in position. But as it happened, it's a hand that I crushed. So it seems like he made a okay fold, but he's still getting a good price with the flush draw. I wouldn't have folded. Um, I mean, yeah, there's a fine line between VIP and reg these days anyway, right? Like someone like Orphan, he is he's a businessman and he would get to play on the VIP side for the Invitational, but he's a really, really good player. I played with Orphan a few times and I really think his table presence, his knowledge, his like everything about how he plays poker is phenomenal. And you could say that about quite a few guys that are quote unquote businessmen. So just because you don't do it as your primary source of income doesn't mean you can't be better than like a lot of regs, right? So it all depends player to player. But yeah, I think Medi's one of the best players in this high roller, whether or not you call him a reg or not. I've opened Queen 9, Medi's calls the small blind with sevens, pretty standard to me. This hand was actually pretty silly, if you ask me, but it's going to give more context to the future hands that we're going to see. So, thanks for doing this review. Saw you in Paris, didn't say hi. I'll make sure to say hello, Monte Carlo. I'm currently not. I have no plans to play Monte Carlo. I've actually never played in Monte Carlo. I would. I'll reconsider it once because I'm doing some traveling in April. Based on how I feel after, I might reconsider it. But assume that I'm not going. If I do, there's some chance I might pop over just for the main if I'm feeling up to it. If I'm like wanting to play a bigger tournament, but because there's all this like National Poker League stuff now. There's like tournaments in Yorkshire and all over the place that if I'm going around playing those, uh, then I have less free time if I start playing all the EPTs and stuff as well. So I'm not sure I'm going to play yet. But yeah, I'll be around. I'm doing World Series Europe and then some stuff in the UK, then probably Vegas, and then probably mainly stuff in the UK this year. But they have got like a lot of 1Ks, 1500s, and like reasonable tournaments in the UK too. Yeah, so I checked back with the Queen 9 on the flop. I think I've checked back because Medi's small blind range to call is very tight. Like obviously I cover him. I'm chip leader. I can see bet with a bit more impunity because he can't check raise very much. But I did think he was very densely around like hands like he's got, which is probably pocket fours or fives through to like pocket eights or nines. Some suited aces, and then like king jack, king queen, queen jack, queen ten, queen nine suited, jack ten suited, like loads of hands which are pretty big cards. And I thought my hand can't really go for free streets. If I face a check raise, it's pretty awkward already. I'd always bet queen jack. I'd probably always bet queen nine of diamonds because the backdoor flush draws more equity. I thought I'll mix in a check with this hand sometimes if I don't want to range bet. And I could just range bet, even though it's against small blind. I think my open the button as chip leader range is just too wide, and he's good and is going to have check raises. So it's a nice hand to throw. Like queen five suited would be a much more attractive check, but he doesn't have queen eight suited really. Um, like if I bet small, he probably does have to call one bet with a hand like pocket sevens. So I check back, and then he ends up betting the turn here with pocket sevens, which I think is very interesting. Like it's probably a bluff I wouldn't have found as him. I think he could have king nine suited, jack nine suited, eight nine suited, hands that are just turned hearts, or that's kind of it though. Like it might be that if he doesn't pull a bluff from a hand like this, he's struggling to find bluffs. Um, Maybe like sixes and fives are just slightly better because then he can make me fold nines and eights and sevens, whereas sevens obviously can't make me fold sevens. There's less combos of it. So I think I don't know how I feel about this. I think most people just see an ace on the turn versus check back range and they just check. But his small blind call range is just so ace X, king queen, king jack, these sort of hands heavy. But it's just dicey for him to bet the turn. Like I remember I was really perplexed on this spot. Like what does he want to bet? If he has ace X, ace two to ace eight, maybe around ace eight, he can start betting if he wants to. He probably thinks I'm betting the flop with ace king and ace jack a lot, which is true, and ace queen a lot, which is true. Um, yeah, it's just a six spot, man. Like king jack, maybe he wants to check. I think he mainly wants to check the turn. That's why I was in a tough spot. And I was like, what's he bluffing with? I've got a nine. What's his first bluffs? Jack nine. 9-8 of hearts. I've got the 9 of hearts. The 9 of hearts is the friggin' worst hand to have here. I want him to have 9-8 and 9-7 of hearts, or Jack 9 of hearts, King 9 of hearts, or if not, um, like what else is he bluffing with? So I ended up folding here because I just thought the 9 of hearts was a deaf card, even though I've got a really good hand, and I can see I was miles and miles ahead. Um, so like I probably should have just c-bet this hand in hindsight and just kept it simple. And I happened to get the worst turn, and he found a really creative bluff, and I happened to have the worst card. If I had Queen 9 without the 9 of hearts, I definitely would have called. Um, and I did want to. I remember in game thinking, it's such a weird spot. I want to know what he's got because it just feels weird. So like, given my radar was saying something, but I didn't imagine he would bluff with a hand like this. If I knew he would obviously turn pairs into bluffs, it's a slam dunk call every time. But it's better for me to call with Jack 10, King 10, pocket jacks, and I have all those hands. Or I have, how many ace X do I have? I've checked out the flop. I have like every ace 2 to ace 9 that didn't always feel like c-betting, and there's quite a lot of those. So I was pretty content folding the turn here in game. But yeah, he got me. He somehow got me with pocket sevens here. Um, yeah, probably not much betting. And yeah, maybe he wants to size up. What was the sizing he chose? 125. Yeah, it wasn't even the biggest bet in the world, was it? I mean, he could just be having like ace jack himself as well, or ace 10 or queen 10. Like, I don't know, funky hand. I think he's lucky I had the 9 of hearts because I would have been keeping him honest. When is the next hand? It's literally next one. Looks like I'm playing back to back to back hands. Oh, here, here we go. Here's the one. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this one already. Uh, I'm not going to be able to justify this one, let's be honest, but I'm going to tell you why I did what I did. James has opened. He's open from under the gun dash the low jack. We're playing five-handed. Satnav is such a small stack here. Remember we looked a bit ago. He had 7 bigs. I think he's got even less than 7 bigs now. In fact, let's kind of see his stat before we start. He's got 5.8 bigs, and he's in the big blind. He's got 4.8 bigs with one of those big blinds in the middle. He is like absolutely micro stack, and I'm like considerable chip leader, or like not like huge, but like enough that I've like I can pressure everyone. But if someone doubles through me, they could change things. So James opens, and James is opening relatively loose. Like he doesn't always respect ICM. We saw him 5-bet jam pocket nines. Um, I think he's not going to punt it, but he's just not going to play overly tight. I free bet with my ace five off. It's a really nice hand to free bet with. Like I said before, you block two combos of ace five suited. That's a hand that people like to fight back with a lot. You have an ace blocker. You unblock all the middling hands. Imagine if James has, any 6-7 through to 9-10 suited, through to Queen Jack offsuit, King 9 suited, like all of these hands, you're out the way of because I don't interact with them. So I unblock a lot of his folds from the middle portion. So it's like I love this 3-bet. I think it's great. I think I could have just gone 3x. I didn't necessarily have to go just over 3x because it would have probably achieved the same. But other than that, yeah, I think it's fine. Obviously, like, I'm probably 3-bet getting it in with James with Jacks plus Ace King, something like that. Maybe once in a while pocket tens because James is loose. But yeah, overall probably flat with tens and ace queen versus the open, and then I'm obviously going to free bet some bluffs. This is just one of those bluffs. Now Medi, I'm happy now you've seen the context that he's limp raising me with king five, and he's like finding like these creative bluffs, and he's like very capable of finding aggression. He's going to know at this point that I've been relentlessly aggressive too. I free bet him with 6-9 off in the big blind. Like people are watching the stream as soon as they can, getting the intel as well. Uh, we were already like fighting against each other a lot. But look at Satnam stack. Like, think about the range that Medi wants to get it in with here. If Medi looks down at pocket jacks, I think he's just folding on the button here. I don't think he's inducing. I mean, maybe there's some ideas of cold call that might be a thing sometimes, but look at his stack. He's got like 1.9 million second in chips. Medi pretty much only wants to get it in here with kings and aces, sure. Maybe ace king offsuit, maybe pocket queens. But even those, like ace king off and queens, they don't feel amazing to get it in here, in my opinion. Uh, it could be that he's always getting in with those hands, but even so, his value range is super, super tight. Ace king offsuit, maybe he even just jams because you just don't want to necessarily induce or make more decisions with that hand. Ace king off, if it's a profitable jam, I think he can just take it. So he's got discounted queens and ace king off. He's got kings pure. He's got aces pure, but I have an ace. He's got ace king suited, but I have an ace. So there's three combos of ace king suited. there's three combos of aces, and there's six combos of kings. So that's 12 combos of value. Now, Mehdi is an aggressive player. If he looks down at king queen suited, four combos. King jack suited, four combos. Ace 10 suited, three combos. Ace jack suited, three combos. Ace queen, maybe every ace queen, to be honest, in this spot looks like an attractive bluff. To be honest, I think it would to him. I think he would have every ace queen, which is 12 combos of ace queen. We've already got to how many more bluffs than value in this case. Um, in the middle of this, James goes into a massive tank, so I can see James clearly has a good hand. For James to be in the tank here, he has two cards pretty much always a 10 or bigger. He has like 10s plus to go into the tank as long as he did. I thought James either has 10s or maybe even ace king himself in this spot. So that is more blockers around good hands. If I had to like interpret it into the equation, it's going to block bluffs too, but it's going to do good and bad things for me. And Medi's exactly the sort of psychopath that could find the spot as a bluff. That's the main thing. Like maybe even ace 9 suited, maybe even king 10 suited, maybe even ace 8 suited, maybe even like the last two ace 5 suited, you know? Like if he's going to see this as a good spot, maybe even ace jack offsuit, maybe even king queen offsuit. I don't know. Maybe I'm clutching at straws to think these hands might consider it. But ace queen for sure. Even if he only has ace queen as a bluff, he still has, like when we named all the value just, for sure, the only value is 12 combos. If he has ace queen as a bluff, that's already 12-12. That's already even. And more importantly, once James folds, I don't want to jam my ace five here, even though if I'm right on my read, it might be profitable. I think the main sort of tidbit I'm trying to employ here in this spot is if I click it here, which is actually what I did. I mean, I think I should have just min clicked it, but I ended up probably making it slightly too big. I'll see if I can pause it on the exact size that I made it. So I end up finding a 5-bet here as a bluff. And the reason that I actually did it pretty fast because I decided before James folded I was going to do it. Okay, 850. Now, let me again. This might be a massive punt, and I'm just saying what I was thinking in game because obviously I try and make good decisions, even if in hindsight it could be that he always has value and it was a punt. But just to tell you what I thought in game, um, when I make it 850 here, his stack is it looks like I can't remember how much he put in. It says 275 to call, so he's put I made it 850. It says it's 275 more, so he's made it 575. Is that right? I don't know if all the numbers are displaying right on screen, but let's say he's got like 1.9 million total anyway. He is never going to think I'm folding. He is just like this guy's put in 850 of my 1.9 million. He's getting such a ridiculous price if I jam. He never thinks I have a bluff here. And I could be wrong with that read. We've never played with each other before. But I would say if I covered my cards here and I showed 99.9% of poker players this spot, they would be like, this guy is not folding to an all in. Because who the hell finds a 5-bet click back jam at 5-handed at a final table, or whatever. Um, Obviously now, people might think I might find bluffs in these spots, but a lot of people don't know that you can even put this many chips in and then fold to the jam because I'm getting such a ridiculous price. Like it's, in fact, let me get the calculator up. So this is the price I'm getting. Let's say it's 1.05 million. So well, let's do how much the pot would be first. So if he goes all in, he has like 1.2 more. That makes the pot 2.9 plus that. Let's say the pot's going to be 4 million. Again, I might be slightly off. Just keep the number simple. And it's like 1. I mean, it's basically 1 million to win 4 million. I'm basically getting 3 to 1. So I need like I mean, I'll show you this anyway. I need like 25% equity to call. So people don't usually make it these sort of sizes when you're getting such a good price because it's like, what can I fold when I only need 25% equity? Even Ace 5 off has 25%. Well, you can see I've got 33% equity against Kings here because that includes cards folded. In reality, my Ace 5 off's probably got close to 29% equity. Um, I mean, you did your future game image of what? Yeah, that's true. Like I'm advertising for life, sure, but it would help if I wasn't still crazy. Like I still take too many of these spots. Luckily, like not everyone's seen this yet. But yeah, I'm getting such a good price. Ace five off in chip EV. If this was early stages in the tournament, I would have to call. I mean, actually, my equity against aces is actually really trash. So it would literally be okay. I've got like 27% against ace king. I've got like 10% or 9% against aces. I've got like close to 30% against kings. It would be close to probably close in Chippy V actually, but let's say it made money in Chippy V. Let's say on average I've got 27% equity in this hand. It's still a fold in ICM because look at how much these chips are worth. If I call in this spot and lose, I'm putting in like what is going to be making a very small amount of chips because let's say if I have 27% equity, I'm only making 2% on top of this of the whole pot. But look at the different things that happen. If I call and lose, I've literally gave him Omega chip lead next to me. I've thrown away like most of my stack because if I put in another just over a million, I'm down to like 700k here, where then I'm like I think below James's stack too. So I go to like third or fourth in chips. Compared to now, if I fold, once I've done this, I'm still second in chips. Yeah, fair enough, I've gave Midi the chip lead, and maybe that was unfortunate. But yeah, I've obviously spoke through why I thought it was a reasonable spot for him to have bluffs and folds. And I never think he's going to 5-bet bluff here is a really crucial part of the equation here. If he has 5-bet bluffs, then I've completely torched it. Um, but I just thought it never happens. And if he doesn't have cold 4-bet bluffs, I've torched it, but I thought he did. And the ratios might be such that maybe he does have 4-bet bluffs, but maybe he has queens and ace king off for value, so it's still offset such that he has too much value and it's still a punt. I don't know. We'll never know the real answer. It's just why I did what I did in game, but it's still just a slam dunk fold with my hand. So if I don't find bluffs with a hand like this, like if I've got king queen suited or ace queen as my bluff here, it might just be that those hands have too much equity, even against the super tight range that now you're priced in. Um, so for that reason, I don't think he thinks I'm folding. And he actually jammed really fast. You'll see, he's in straight away. And I've snap folded because I'm like, fuck it, I fucking punted off so much chips. Fuck, I just feel horrible. But he snap jammed. So to me, the fact he snap jammed is actually like he never thinks I'm folding. He never thinks I'm ever folding. Um, so in that sense, I don't think he's ever going to bluff. Um, and yeah, he didn't even try and like make himself look like. Imagine if I've got ace queen. He didn't even try and be like, oh, maybe I'm thinking about a 5-bet bluff. What do I do here? Do I put in a timer? He was just like, no, this guy's not folded. I'm all in. Like he to me, he gave away the fact that some of the logic I used was correct, whether or not it means the hand was well played or not. Um, yeah, it's like Satnam's got 3.8 bigs now. Jeez. So yeah, obviously that's why I think queens and ace king off in his shoes aren't always a get in. Obviously, like this is low stakes for him, and some people don't care as much about ICM. He might just be like, sure, queens ace king, I called 4-bet, I get it in. Don't care if I don't get a ladder, I'm playing for the win. I still don't think he ever has jacks. Uh, but you know, it could be an omega punt. It could be the fact that I've just ran into it. I don't know. You can let me know for sure. But that's why I did what I did. I think a lot of people don't know that in ICM you can make these sick folds even though you're getting a sick price, and that's the main leverage I'm using here. Uh, yeah, James I think it just has a. I mean it's Jacks like it's a nice like he's still the fact he's tanking with Jacks also gives you an indication that he thinks Medi might have bluffs here too, right? Because yeah, you're right. If Medi's got value, Medi's just got queens plus ace king suited, maybe even kings plus ace king suited. So yeah, James he made a good fold, but he's still like he's not happy to fold because he knows we're both really aggressive, and that's kind of what ICM does. So yeah, it was a game of chicken, but came with he came with the goods this time. uh, just looking for the next hand. 7 minutes 36. But yeah, I think after losing a hand like that, mentally you can not feel the best. I'll tell you that. I think like at this point I'm just like I need to recompose. I need to like get my head straight, like because you still have that voice in your head that's like, did I just massively punt it? No, Medi didn't say anything when I snap folded. I think other people were more like, what? Like what even just happened? Even in the commentary, I'm sure they were like, wait a minute, did he click? Like what? It happened so fast. Um, but yeah, I think people were more like perplexed as opposed to saying much. So yeah, look, it'd be a really horrible time for me to be involved in a hand at this point too, you know. So glad to say I probably wasn't in a hand for 10 minutes now because you just want to kind of get your head straight. You don't want to be in that like man did I punt it sort of mindset. Because ultimately, like if you punted it or not, it doesn't matter. You just need to move on, right? Like learn from it later. Think about why you did what you did. Like I still don't know if it was a punt because I don't know what. Like I could ask Mehdi honestly, and he might give me an answer of, yeah, I thought that looked like a great spot, so I would have taken it with these XYZ hand, or it would have been like, No, I was just waiting for this guy to bust, so I wouldn't have taken it. Um, and you just gotta go with your reading, like the queens against King Jack and earlier a few other hands in this tournament. It was just I'm trusting my gut, and my gut said it was a good spot, and it's just annoying I don't have perfect answer. Like sometimes it's a good spot and still bad timing. Sometimes it's the opposite. Like it might have been a spot where like if he was bluffing with ace queen suited, let's say, and he folded, and I'm like, yeah, this is like then I feel great because my bluff worked. But in reality, he might have only bluffed ace queen suited, which is three combos, and it might have been that I just happened to run into the bluff, and I might have thought it's like I've like made a really sick play when as in reality I would have happened to run into the only few hands that I was good against. So that is kind of the annoying thing with poker sometimes too, that you don't want to be too results oriented, but sometimes there is big clues, like the fact he snap jammed here. That's a nice big window into his thought process here of part of it. But I and like obviously I've seen he's crazy out of line in other spots, but I haven't seen him cold four bet bluff before, so maybe that's a spot he under bluffs. Like it'd be nice to maybe I can go through some of his Triton hands, and if I find some cold four bet bluffs, then I'll start to feel better. uh, this was limp, check check, and now he's potted the turn. So you can see what I mean by this guy kept getting the better of me. Like I think this is a close spot, and maybe I should fold king four on the turn here. He's bet really big. I can have four x of spades, five x of spades, four six, five six, seven six, just seven x in general, jack x maybe sometimes. And I think I'd probably like to see myself fold this king four. Maybe call with the king of spades because then I can bluff rivers like this sometimes. I think when he bet the river, I was really like wanting to call. This genuinely might be like I'm just not I'm not recomposed yet from that huge part, and that is I guess that's probably part of it you don't always think about in game. Like with my ace five off, I might just be like, I think this is a good spot, I'm going to take it. But then when the times it goes wrong, because sometimes you are wrong or it goes wrong, that's going to happen. If it then leads to me playing like not my best for 20 minutes later because I'm just like not feeling great, like I just lost a big pot. That's still part of the equation, right? Like maybe I made a bad turn call here because my mindset wasn't perfect thanks to that hand. And fortunately, I folded the river, but I was very curious. 8 hours, 12 minutes. What was the shot clock in the tournament? I think it was on the final. I think they changed it to 30 seconds pre. Or actually, I think they made a mistake at one point, and it was 15 seconds unopened, but they didn't realize at the final it's supposed to be 30-second unopened, so maybe they forgot to change that. Uh, but yeah, you get so many time banks, and you get more if you like make day two, more if you make the final, etc. So I think I still had quite a few. If I don't remember being low on time banks or. But obviously, if some people are, you can use that sometimes to your advantage. Put people in more tough spots. Uh, Here I've limped with King Free off, which is a candidate you can go for a limp raise, but it's pretty lucky that I didn't put my foot in it. Uh, 8 hours, 25 minutes. I busted James here. I just called him. I free bet with Ace King, and he jams with Ace Queen suited. So yeah, he could have called pre. He could have called the free bet with Ace Queen suited. Plus, it's really nice to hold too. Like 30% of this pot doesn't belong to me in EV, but I held. But yeah, obviously it's nice to have the image where people are just always getting ace queen in there against you. Some people they might flat against or even fold against if they think they're really tight. Yeah, I think this hand could have gone in right. Ryan's open 3x and he's playing 25 bigs. So my ace queen, I've went for an induce. I think I free bet non all in, hoping that he jams a hand like he's got king queen or ace x. And he ended up folding the king queen, which was a good fold. And yeah, I mean, given my image, maybe I would have been under bluff in this spot. Just know everyone's seen the ace five at this point. Like, uh, it's such a level. Like, am I then going to double down on it and play like a maniac, or am I going to then ease up because I'm perceived like a maniac? And now this is a really sick hand. And the whole tournament, Medi has been pretty much getting. Like, I don't think I've won a hand against this guy. Like you've seen like probably 10 hands I've played against him, except for the 6-9 free bet that got through pre. I feel like he's won literally every single hand. He's been like a thorn in my side for the whole tournament. And now I've taken the chip lead. Um, I open 3.5 bigs, ace queen suited, just value. You know, I can call a free bet. I want to open this spot a lot. And the other guys are much shorter, so I can pressure Medi, but our stacks aren't that different that I can go crazy. Like you can already see, like if he wins this spot, if I see bet and he wins, he's going to potentially take the chip lead. Uh, so yeah, I go for a big polarized c bet, and it's because this is a board I don't want to bet very often. I've opened really wide. I can have ace king, aces and kings, and he can't. I can have more ace queen. I can have more ace jack, maybe more ace ten. Uh, but I also have lots of air. Like when I've opened pretty loads of cards, which are just like 8-2 suited maybe or 9-6 offsuit hands where they're doing absolutely terribly on this board. So I go for a polarized betting strategy, which is around ace queen's probably like my prime value because even aces and kings are almost like too strong. I might check or do something different. But like I'm mainly basically saying I don't bet very often. When I do, I bet big, which is like similar story to the free bet size in spree. Uh, and I'm really nicely I'm against a hand which I want to get max value against. Like if he has ace jack, ace 10, ace 9, ace 8, I want to just go big bet, absolutely blast money in. He's never going to fold an ace. He's never going to fold king x of hearts. So I go for a big bet on the flop. And now the turn stumped me a little bit because now I chop with all the ace x, but I thought this hand still likes to bet a lot for two reasons. One, I have like basically the best kicker. So if the river's a king, I'm then going to have aces and kings with a queen kicker. Um, oh, one sec. How's the connection, by the way? Because like it looks like when I'm looking at my version of the stream, it's like slowing down a bit. Is it there? I can't really see. But yeah, if it's lagging or something, let me know. Man, my laptop is bloody hot. I don't think it's used to doing this many things at once. Yeah, I hope it's still uh, I hope the connection's still doing all right. Yeah, basically, I with this hand, I unblock every single time he has Queen Jack, Queen 10, Jack 10 of clubs or hearts. Uh, Fine, okay, glad to hear it. So all these hands are never going to fold. Every time he has King X of hearts, these hands are never going to fold. Or the times he has Ace X, not only can I river a Queen, but I can river a King to get there. So that's an extra three outs I've got if he has any worse Ace, where then my kicker's going to play. Was lagging, but sound is fine. Okay, good, good, good. I think my laptop is like ready to explode, but I'm gonna do my best to get through the rest of these hands. Um, so, I mean, I could put turbo on my laptop. Let me know if this is. I hope that's not gonna be like loud for the audio as well. So we'll only a bit pixely in GTO is it, to be honest. Tail stuff's fine. All right. Hopefully, like I forgot I've got like a turbo mode on this laptop. Hopefully that just makes it run a bit better. Um, So yeah, that's basically baked into the equation when I bet here. Sometimes I river a king, or I get max value from like king x of hearts or like queen x of clubs, etc. So I decide to bet the turn. A lot of the time it's going to be a chop, like it is. Sometimes he has king x of hearts or those combo draws which can't fold. I don't think he has a seven because remember I massively sized up the flop. The only 7x which calls the flop, other than a7 and king 7, which are obviously blocked by the board, is 7x of clubs. And because the turn was the 7 of clubs, he literally never has a 7. Uh, you ever wonder if you get paid if you hadn't seen the 5 bet fold? Yeah, you got to draw for the 5 bet fold sometimes. Uh, so yeah, I don't think Medi ever has a seven. I might have a seven sometimes because like a 7-6 or something might just blast the flop to try and make him fold. Like he could have pocket eights, or it's like a merge where I can get there against an ace and I've got five outs against top pair, or I can try and make him fold a king by barreling. So like I might have some 7x, but he has literally no 7x unless he has like a boat or quads. Uh, so now I get, in fact, the Dream River based on the hands, but now I'm like, man, when he called on the turn, like this is I had to really think about this river spot because it went from like, yeah, let's blast it, I'm getting value, to, oh, this is a bit weird now. Some of it is like some of it is like basically a chop, but I'm getting some value from combo draws. So now like, okay, King X of Hearts gone. So on the river, he never has a king anymore because he folds a king on the turn. He never has a seven. He either has, most of his ace X probably call the turn. Even though I know he has ace jack here, he probably calls that ace two suited on the turn because he's just, I'm betting really polar. He's going to chop if I'm merge betting like I am. So I think he literally has like ace two suited, maybe even ace two offsuit through all the way to ace jack, which is like infinite ace X that I beat. Once in a blue moon, he's got king seven, but there's only two combos of king seven suited. King seven off probably folds pre. Ace seven, sure. There's like how many combos of that? Like four combos of ace seven. Then I guess the worry is the queen jack of hearts, queen ten of hearts, jack ten of hearts. That's three combos. But how many combos of ace X are now still there? So I was really perplexed on the river, like, man, what do I do? Because now I feel like I got there, or like got there against most of the chops. But once, sometimes he still has a trap, and sometimes he still has those three combos of flushes. And the other guy's still short stacks. This is like a heavy ICM spot. So I was like, do I jam and just pray he doesn't have it? Do I check and like maybe fold if he bets? Uh, I don't know. Again, I think this might have been a spot I used the time bank because I was really like, this is such a weird texture change in run out that you don't. Yeah, I used time bank here, which I think I didn't use. I don't remember using that many because I didn't have this many spots like this that feel so complicated. Um, and yeah, I ended up concluding that I should value bet because he has too many ace X and he might perceive me to have some bluffs. Like, what if he just thinks I might have Jack 10 or like, was betting with an ace and might like value bet with a worse ace than he's got, or I guess mainly a bluff. Like if I'm just firing through with uh 5-6 of clubs, 5-4 of clubs, maybe a complete airball sometimes because I've got the maniac image. So basically, it's like this might be the worst hand of value bet now. Obviously, I can have ace king, I can have maybe some 7x sometimes. Um, I can have now some flushes, like if I was blasting with 5-6 of hearts, although might check the flop sometimes, might check the turn sometimes. Yeah, I decided to value bet. I bet a little bit, given that he snap called. Maybe I bet a little bit small. Like I bet 20% pot 480. I think given his hand, it seems clear I could bet bigger, but I was genuinely like, yeah, ace jack and ace 10 probably call, but then ace 8 and ace 9 are already being like, oh, this is a horrible spot. Or if he has ace jack no heart, he's like, does he know he's bluff catching? Or maybe I can have the same hand. Ace jack probably always calls. Every other ace X is starting to be in a really horrible spot with the ICM because yeah, even though I've got the crazy image, it's kind of hard for me to bluff here. It's just a really weird spot. Like I definitely think I should value bet as played. I like the line I've taken. It's just maybe I could have bet a little bit more. Maybe I could have bet 800k on the river, like third pot. Like it's nice to leave him with chips because it's like exponentially but easier for him to call in this case, and it still puts pressure on him with some hands. Like he's still got instant folds with like I guess queen 10, queen jack, jack 10 of clubs. Maybe I should have even just jammed and been like, if he's got it, he's got it. But yeah, if we look at the stacks now, him calling the river did make him the short stack, but it's still now like a fight between second and third. But this was like, it felt like the first hand that I actually got the better of him. And obviously I got the dream run out, like a terrible turn and then the dream river. And maybe I could have got greedier on the river. Maybe something different could have happened. Obviously don't fault his line at all. He's pretty obligated to call down with the hand he's got. I think I just open jam this one. They're both playing like 14 and 20 bigs or 22 bigs. Yeah, they just have to. They're both in the bin now. Uh, oh, that was a weird hand. I think it was the next hand actually. Did he just jam queen eight? Yeah, he jammed queen eight in the small blind. Loose. Uh, you like b40 to fold rather than jam. I think if I b40, I've pretty much put him in though. He only had like half pot left. He had 1.3 something, and the pot was 2.4. So he's got 55% pot. So it's a lot harder to fold if I do that. Like I could have ace king for a b20 on the river, or like like some sort of boat. Yeah, this hand I remember being really really strange. I open. It looks like I've opened too big. Yeah, SPR was close to point 0.5. Yeah, given the ICM and the stacks, like he's only playing 13 bigs. Like this is too big of an open from me. I don't know why I've opened this big. It's just a mistake. Uh, I mean, he's made the ante's pretty big. Like I'm out of position to a good player. Like I can see bumping it up a little bit, but I think 2.5x, maybe 2.7x. I guess I'm being a bit hypercritical here, but I think I could have sized this better. And 9-8 off's a close one, but I think calling position's okay. He's the short stack, although the stacks are kind of close, and this guy has like could definitely get it in before Medi, given he just jammed Queen 8 off. Medi checks back top pair, and then he starts value betting the turn. He goes pretty big. I think he's gone a bit too big. Pot's 430. He's got like 1.5 SPR-ish, slightly less. Like think about it. Looks like I've got a hand like I've got ace high, or maybe like a one pair hand, which is slightly worse. So I think he should just bet a little bit smaller, like B40. But he went more like B60. It's just really hard for me to call the size he's bet in the line. It's hard for him to have bluffs. But I mean, there's definitely like fatigue and things that happen in the stage of the tournament. You've been grinding a whole day, and now obviously free-handed, hand after hand after hand, spot after spot after spot. Like you're just gonna make mistakes. Looks like that's ace jack against ace jack. That's a boring one. Next one. I don't think I've got any more interesting hands for a while. We're nearly there. Now we're heads up. I think they like they just got it in some like relatively standard way. Uh, so I get heads up as pretty big chip leader against Ryan, who he's a recreational player, but he plays pretty good. Like he's still out there fighting for pots. I think he definitely had a run at it heads up. Like we ended up in a I basically called him to win. I think in the end. Uh, I think we get a sick hand straight away as well. Like I've got a huge chip lead here. He's opened King Jack of Hearts. Pot's 500. We've got SPR just over two. Uh, and then I remember this spot. He's like bet the flop to, in my opinion, too big. Like he's bet 240 into 500 on a really dry board. Because if I've missed the board, unless I've got a gut shot, I just have a pretty easy fold. Like all my suited cards with like a two to a five, where I've got like Queen nine offsuit. You can kind of make me indifferent for a smaller size. You can bet like 25% pot. You can bet 33% pot. But he's gone like straight to nearly half pot. So when he shows this sizing, I just thought he doesn't have a 10. Because if you've got a 10, you've got the board locked. Like you want me to float with Queen Jack. You want me to float with Jack 9. You want me to bluff more. So I thought his sizing was just kind of weak. Like he's just betting the flop. And my hand is one of those hands actually that would have much preferred a smaller size because then it can continue more. But now feels close to indifferent because I've got free to a flush, free to a straight, and it's going to be a higher straight. Uh, some interaction with some of his 10x, although, like I said, I don't think he has a 10. So I thought if he's missed the board, like I think he has, he's just going to fold. So I decided to raise the flop. Also thinking if he floats the flop when I raise, like if he's got ace queen, ace king, or like a six, and he decides to call in position, if I turn a diamond, or if I turn some equity, then I can still win this hand by jamming the turn and making him fold. If my read's right that he doesn't have a 10, what he could still bet call the flop with king queen of clubs, king jack of clubs. Having the jack of diamonds is nice to block some of his floats. Or like ace king, he might just call a raise on the flop. But then if the turn's like a five of diamonds and I jam, he's not going to call me with ace high. So I min raise the flop because if I've got a six or if I've got a 10, like a hand that wants to run it, I don't need to raise big. I need him to be able to call with worse. Like this is a weird like equilibrium going on now, but I mean, a 10 I might even call a lot of the time versus his sizing, which I guess becomes a bit of a level. And like he's got exactly one of those hands, which I think should probably float one. Like he beats my bluffs. He's really far behind my value. He's either pretty much dead against the 10 or against the 6, he's pretty far behind because I might have jack 6 or king 6 as well. And obviously, if I'm raising a 6, it's to get it in. I'm not going to fold. But he decides to jam, which, for what it's worth, like he got me. I mean, he has like 82% equity, but if the turn's a diamond that's not a king of diamonds, I'm just going to jam and win. Uh, I guess a queen of diamonds he'll probably call off. So I would have probably called the raise with his hand because it plays okay on turns, but the jam might even be better given the fact that he just wins the pot now. And his read was right that I was bluffing. I don't know if he got a live read on me or something, or if he's just like, this guy's crazy. I think he's bluff raising me. Like he is like he's been around for a while. He might have just thought it feels like I'm bluffing. Um, and like he threw a time bank in. He didn't end up using it. He jammed before that. Yeah, I found this is quite an interesting hand. I mean, it's like one of the first hands we play heads up as well. It might have been the first hand we played heads up. You're also playing with no ante, so ranges are a little bit tighter. But yeah, fair play. Like straight away, he's just like, I'm not having any of your shit. Check raise me on 10-10-6. I don't care. I'm in. Like my read was right. He didn't have a 10, but I can't I can't do anything if he's gonna just free bet jam the bluffs in my eye, can I? So yeah, I guess I could have floated and then just um tried to win by him checking back the turn and then like bluffing the river if I thought he didn't have a 10. And then got more info based on if he bets the turn. But with my hand, it's nice for clearance. Like if he had King Jack off, I think he would have probably folded. Maybe I'm wrong. Next hand we got 924. He min raises the button. I call Queen 7. Oh, this was a sick hand. This was a sick hand. Uh, so yeah, on the turn, you like he's checked back the flop. I can see. Do you think he has a lot of bet calls on the flop? Wouldn't SPR be like 0.5 with 6 bigs left or something? Uh, yeah, but heads up, the range is so tight. Just going back to that 10-10-6 spot, like you're forced to play like most of the deck. Even if he's playing tight, he's playing like 60% of hands, let's say. Most hands are just too far away from that board. King Jack of Hearts on 10-10-6 one heart is actually quite a good hand. But if he's got Ace 2 offsuit, if he's got King 5 suited, if he's got King 9 offsuit, if he's got King Jack offsuit even, like there's so many hands where they are just in a much tougher spot. Like his hand, I think he should call or jam maybe like he did. But there's just so many hands which are in a tough spot, or if they're not in a tough spot now, they will be in a tough spot on the turn. And like I don't want to raise my gut shots on that flop because I don't want to get jammed on. I want to realize my equity. So if I have 9-8, 9-7, 7-8, I would have just called his c bet and gone broke if I turned a pair. Um, or like maybe tried to bluff if he checked back a lot of the time. Um, some of my 6x and 10x call the flop. I mean, 10x probably calls the flop a lot in practice, based on my read that he didn't have a 10. Um, and that he just was betting, therefore, like he's on the weaker side of his range, and therefore I was over bluffing because based on my read. Um, but yeah, it might just be that I should have understood once he's bet that big that he's kind of just like, I'm too far behind in this heads up match. I need to make a run at it. I need to put my foot down more. And yeah, I didn't expect him to jam with the king jack. This queen 7, I was so close to betting the turn. I took myself out of it because if I bet and get called, like it's usually going to be he has a higher flush draw. And I think if he's checking down, like I can just win on the rivers anyway, was my read. Like my queen 7's going to see a river no matter what. Like if he bets the turn, I can call. If he checks back, obviously I see a river. If I bet, he probably doesn't raise very often. and we do fold some better hands, but I can fold better hands on the river. But in hindsight, I wish I would have bloody bet the turn because he just clearly thinks that if I get to the river and I don't have showdown, well, I'm always going to bluff. The way I saw this spot is most of my hands already start bluffing. If I've got a six or a seven or a club, I mean, the six or seven of clubs is specifically a hands that can go in the check line, I think. Like, if I've got a five as well, I'm probably always betting. I would have some trap checks, like an eight with a club or a boat, or like some hands to go for a check raise. But if I get to the river with, say, like Jack three of spades or, nine three of spades, those hands are going to be pretty obligated to bluff, which, is a problem. If a guy is pretty stubborn, I think his free here, I guess it does block 6-3, but 6-3 mainly bets the turn, unless it has a club, I guess. He blocks ace-3, which I guess is nice, but I think my bluffs might be like 9-3, 10-3, Jack-3 that don't have a club. So the three of hearts feels like not the best card. And if I've got like king high, I probably don't bluff. I mean queen high, I don't even always bluff. I like queen 9, queen jack, queen 10, I might not bluff here. Uh, I don't know. I just feel it felt like it was too loose of a call, but the fact that he was right, I can't argue with. Like I don't know exactly what I'm doing with all parts of my range here. I just felt like he had king higher ace high and it was going to fold, and that I'd have enough good hands that it was fine. And like I could value bet a four, I could value bet my traps, I could value bet a five that check the turn, which could check sometimes. But he might just be right that when I get here that I'm over bluffing and his call's good, and it doesn't matter that his three of hearts is good, bad, whatever. So you can see he's like doubled his stack already. So not the way you want to start a heads up match. Uh, 9 hours 27. Oh, it's going to be the very next time. I've min raised 10-9. He calls. Check back. He bluffs the turn. I call. The river's a fourth diamond. So now I'm in a tough spot if he bluffs the river. But he doesn't. He doesn't take the bluff with this spot, which can be very telling. Like he's got to the river with an air hand, which doesn't have a diamond. Arguably the only hands he has like this, if he's only betting equity, is like 8-9, Jack 9, maybe a 6-8 or a 6-9. But he's gonna have a diamond with them a lot, right? Um, and he didn't bluff the river there. And he would have put me in a tough spot. I don't know what I would have done, to be honest. 31. He's 2.5 x'd it. Uh, he's bombed the flop. Well, not too bad. It's 300 into 500. I think I have to call. I've got an open ender. And then he bets. Oh, he bet kind of small on the turn, or like less than half pot, and put me in a pretty tough spot. I ended up folding king six here because sometimes I'm dominated by draws. I mean, I've got 25% equity, which is like close with the price against the hand he's got, because obviously my kings are out. This might be slightly tight of a fold. I probably could call this if I wanted to, but I think if it was a close spot, I was more team, let's not, like take a close spot and end up playing a big pot if I'm not confident. And I wasn't confident if that was going to be a turn call or not against his betting range. I think I need him to bet more hands king high beats, like, like a random 9-10, which I wasn't sure he was going to always bluff. 9 minutes 33. I'm limped. He checks. I think this one he made a good fold if I remember. I just one big blind the flop. He calls, and now on the turn, I I'm just gonna go for value here. I think check in is probably okay with this queen, like one of the worst kickers without a redraw. Uh, and I've gone pretty big on the turn, and he makes a good fold. So again, this is a spot I might be over bluffing because there's a lot of random 4x and 5x and hands with one club. Like if I've ever got king of clubs 7, 8, 9, like I feel like I'm bluffing like crazy, or like my ace of clubs X hands. So I'm probably over bluffing the spot, but he was right this time by making the fold, and it's probably nicer. Like he can have 6-5, 6-4, He can have ace six, king six. Like, there's a lot of hands better than his. I think it's still too tight of a fold overall, but it was right this time. Uh, 939. For what it's worth, I really like heads up. Whenever I get to it, it's just a really nice format where you're constantly playing hands, you're constantly like on this meta game, you're constantly like trying to be on the level that's right above your opponent. And it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful game. I know I'm not very good at it, like objectively, but luckily in tournaments you always get heads up with people that are also not very good at it. So it never feels like you're in like a horrible spot. Every now and again in the tournament you get heads up with like a heads up wizard, you are like, man, this is horrible. Uh, oh, I think this next hand. Yeah, so this one, I limp pocket fours because we're only playing 19 bigs and we're playing without an ante. So pocket four is less than 20 bigs. You're just like, how do I get it in? And I want to be the one that saves all in. So my plan was limp. And if he raises, I'm going to go all in. That was literally why I limped fours. I'm limp jamming. And now he 3.5x's it. And something about the way he did it, the timing, I can't quantify what it is here. But I limped my intentions to jam. Something about him in this hand just made me think I can't jam. He's got it. And I'm very happy to see he's got kings. And my read was right. But I think I'm more proud because I changed the plan here. Like, it's so often that you're like, no, my plan was to limp jam. It doesn't matter that my gut and my radar is saying, man, like something about him just feels strong here. Like, you can always divert the plan. Pocket fours is, I mean, it's still it's such a good hand to jam. It does feel almost criminal to just limp call it off the stack. But if you got the read, you got the read. Like, I just know if I jammed here and I ran into a good hand after having that feeling, I would have absolutely hated hated like the next like 20 minutes because I would have been like, why did I do that? Why didn't I listen to my gut? My gut was saying he somehow got it here, and I can't necessarily quantify it what it was. Maybe he's just playing a bit tight, and suddenly now he's like, let's ISO a limp. But yeah, I just called with the fours, make more decisions. You know, if I double him up here, I think he takes chip lead too, which you would really hate to see for momentum. And even on the flop, like I still beat, you know, queen, ace king, hands like ace nine, which are still going to ISO for value. But I just thought he was really strong. I think he sized up the flop as well. Yeah, he bets 400. Uh, and yeah, even on the flop, it's not crazy to like min raise or call or like do something like try and win the pot, try and fight for the pot, try and get to showdown. But I just for some reason felt like he had it. I can't necessarily tell you how or why. But sometimes you just play with someone all day and something just feels different about their presence, and you're like, is it because they're just running an airball? Is it because they've got aces? Like, uh, but in this tournament, I was very aligned with trusting my gut, despite the fact that ace five off went horribly wrong. Like, that was my my mantra, so to speak. Like, if I have a feeling, I'm gonna trust it, and most of the time, it served me well. And 9 minutes 46 for the next one. This one, I guess similar to the other hand, this is like a spot where I love a check raise. I've got three to a straight. I've got two suits that match the board. I've got the king of hearts, which is a power card. Uh, like I'm just gonna get him to fold all of his air bets. I've got good backdoor equity, but maybe it was his bet sizing that threw me off. Like it's just a limp pot. I think because he's absolutely bombed it. Yeah, he's bet more than pot. He's bet 275 into 240. So if he bet a normal size here, which I guess is one big blind, maybe 1.5 big blinds, I would have check raised or at least check called. But because of the sizing, I'm forced off my hand. Like I don't know. This one might have not even been a live read at all. This one might just be against that size. My hand is just no longer good enough to continue as much as I want to play. Like I want to see more cards with this hand. 9 minutes 49. Looks like I min raised the 10-4, which is questionable. Check out the flop. He bets the turn. At this point, like I think mm, yeah, I guess he could have an ace or a king. I don't think I can fold yet, but I'm definitely not happy with my hand. Ten of spades blocks bluffs. But lucky for me, he didn't bluff the river. So he stabbed with a gut shot and then just didn't follow through. If he did follow through here, I think it would have worked pretty much every time. So that's another nice. If someone ever has like spots where they're not following through with bluffs, obviously then you can get to call wider. So I can call more with my 4x there. I'm not worried that he's going to bluff me off it on the river. And I believe this is the last hand. And so I could have done something else pre here. His min raised off. He's got less than 20 bigs, or he's got pretty much exactly 20 bigs. Ace 8, you could just jam against an open. I know like the ante is not there, but it's just enough hand, right? I'd probably jam with ace 2 off, but then this one, I crush some of his hands like the king 8, like ace 3, ace 4. Even a hand like king 2 is just a nicer jam, like a blocker and a hand that doesn't play as well. And then get the absolute dream flop. We both flop top pair, and he's bombed it. And based on what he seemed to bet bigger when he had good hands for the most part. Like I mean, when he's betting like 80% plus. So I was just like, I need to just get this hand in. He feels like he has an 8. Sometimes I run into pocket 9s, pocket 10s, but this stats pot ratio is such that I can't ever try and get away from my hand. And obviously, last time I min raised him, he ended up going all in. So and that is that. That's how you win tournaments.
Been given a bit of stick for the last hour, but we love him.
It was all tongue in cheek.
Big
Oh yeah,
thank
and
you to
we
these
got
guys getting
Ravi
stuff
and
in
Tom
time
that
or
were
Sheffield.
ripping on me in the comms at times as well. Oh, but yeah, that's how you win a bloody high roller. I hope everyone found that interesting, insightful. I know I had to kind of speed through some of these hands, and I probably didn't go as in depth with the GTO wizard as I could have with some spots, but I wanted to get through all the hands, and I've been streaming for over 3 hours now. Time goes fast when you're just talking about poker. But before you go, would you mind discussing mental fortitude? Need to continue firing to hit the score you had on Sunday for those who have graphs that look like yours pre-Sunday Bink. Currently on a 1500 game spiral on stars, which is tough going. Anything helps, other than backers that truly believe. Uh, I mean, I've had some really horrible downswings in this game uh, that made me feel like I'm literally losing my mind. And yeah, as you can see, like through if you saw some of my live poker graphs, which obviously I guess I don't have them in that graph format, but there was a time I played nearly 300 live tournaments without a final table. There was a time I was 200k in makeup, even though part of that was based on expenses. But when you're playing $55 online with 200k makeup, you are like, what is the point? Like, how am I ever going to get out of this? Well, yeah, just so many relentless times when obviously there's always people around you winning and succeeding too, because they're the voices that are the loudest. They're the successes that are shared. Sometimes you are like, what am I doing wrong? Can I even ever beat this game if I'm just on this curse run? And I've had that experience multiple times, or times every time when I feel like I move up stakes and then just run the worst at that stake, even though obviously my win rate's lower and there's higher variance, but you remember it when you lose your aces versus ace king, or you lose your uh, ace king versus ace queen all in pre when it's at the higher stake or when it's at the crucial moment. You remember those way more. So we're always at least somewhat biased to being blinkered on like when we run bad, when it's going badly, but it's the answers are just they're going to sound generic, but it is true that if you feel like you're losing your mind, you have to take a step backwards, you have to take a break. My sick heater that started like around about nearly 11 months ago now was when I had a terrible Irish Open last year. I took 3 weeks off. I came back and I feel like I have had like a few week downswings and like maybe a month or two downswings at times that have still been hard to handle and brutal, but it's never it's never been to the degree it was before that. And sometimes it is like, am I selling enough action? Am I, like you said, if you have a backer that believes, are you in the position where you can still stay in the games? Like, you don't want to be anxious about that. Uh, but you just need a process that you can trust, that you can do literally again and again and again. Uh, and it's I can't say anything other than it's hard. Like I've definitely for someone that like I feel like I'm described as stoic sometimes. There's times when I've like shouted at my computer. There's times when I've wanted to smash my mouse and I haven't, but I've really wanted to. Or times when I've literally needed to go sit in the car on my own because I'm like I can't be around people right now when the game just feels so absolutely shit. Um, yeah, that's happened loads of times. So it's easier to talk about when I'm not in it as well because when you're in it, you are just like I just want to crawl into a hole and like bury my head in the sand. I don't want to think about how bad I'm running. I don't want to think about how ridiculous this game is. Um, but it is ridiculous, and it's like the best and the worst depending on how you feel going through it. Um, and sometimes it's really fun. Sometimes you run good and you're like, it's the best game ever. Like I can't seem to lose a hand or I'm making good decisions. Sometimes it's like, man, I'm just punted it a five bet ace five off and the guy stuck it in my eye. Uh, and like it's just there's just so many emotions to it, and I guess focusing on how you feel in those spots, like learning how to process your emotions, uh, learning how to kind of deal with yourself, being self-aware as to how you actually feel. Like, are you feeling bad because really you don't feel like you're doing enough work off the tables? Are you feeling bad because of the injustice? Are you feeling bad because you're not bankrolling appropriately? Are you feeling bad because there's a chip on your shoulder and you haven't got that big score you think you deserve? Do you feel entitled to win every time you play? Because that's you can't be in poker in that angle because in the short term you're never entitled to win. Like as I mean, as we've all seen time and time again, like a bunch of whales and horrible people win tournaments all the time, um, or yeah, a bunch of punters win tournaments all the time. So there's no justice in the short term. But I mean, I like to think I'm proof that if you do keep showing up, sometimes you need to take a break, but as long as you keep showing up, you keep putting in the time and studying, and you keep playing, you keep trying to work on your mental game, you keep trying to work on your theory, you keep trying to work on your exploit game, you keep showing up, and like I put in probably more volume for live poker than most people as well. Um, Eventually you will just win, and the times that you do win, it won't even necessarily it won't even feel like this big crazy thing sometimes. Like you'll realize like 2 weeks later when you're running bad again, you're like, oh, like it's just like a cycle that you don't know when it's gonna necessarily shift as well. Uh, Main event next, yeah. I'm gonna review the main event at some point. Given this took 3 hours, I guess I'm not. Maybe I'll be able to do it tomorrow. I guess I'll think about it if I've got the time to do it. Um, Guess later this year you have to do one of these running through the World Series. Yeah, hopefully that's the dream. Final the World Series main. Um, last live comp. The last live comp I played, you actually stabbed me with the second nuts. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. When you're on a heater, you're on a heater. And funnily, you definitely much more remembers the hands that you lose. So many people come up to me like the last 2 years that like I remember when you stacked me in this hand, and it's actually very rare I'll remember unless it was like a really interesting hand, like it was just a cooler, like it's just gone. But obviously, like in the reverse, like I remember when people have stacked me in really crucial big spots, even if it was a flip, even if it was like a cooler, whatever. So you are like we are blinkered on the big hands that we lose, and then it obviously always makes you feel like you're running badly. Same as like more than half the people think they're above average drivers. Like it is just biases that we have, and sometimes it's true. Like I could tell you plenty of times where I know for a fact I've ran below EV because I've got like the graphs or the hands or whatever to prove it. But it doesn't matter. Like the deck is never going to remember that you just never flopped a set today, or your ace king lost to ace queen, or you didn't get dealt aces and that guy got aces 3 times. Like they're the spots where it's like loud, but the spots really are like my like my bluff happened to work in that one spot when because I ran into the part of his range that folds. Like there's so much unforeseen like variance as well that you just don't get to see. Or you don't feel it as much as my king's lost to aces or my aces lost to ace king, where it's really in your face. Like that's me running bad. That is, but me um, value betting and he had second pair instead of having two pair. That's actually run good that you don't necessarily feel at the time. Uh, Yeah, the ratios are way off. But yeah, I mean, I did make a video years ago about how to deal with downswings, which I think a lot of that is still good good knowledge that I have to remind myself sometimes. Uh, but yeah, it's basically just do whatever it takes to feel good, feel happy. That's probably as simple as I can put it. You want to feel happy when you're playing. You want to enjoy when you're playing, and then you're going to play your best, and you're going to experience the bad variance in the best way to keep moving forward. Like if you're happy when you're playing, you basically can't lose. Like just have, especially live poker, just have fun. Have fun when you're playing, and like sometimes it is really painful, but it's the moment that you start to feel like you're cursed or you're running bad or you're not going to win, that's when it almost flips, where then you probably won't even realize that you're making mistakes, or at the best, but like the worst case scenario is like you're just not being present and enjoying the game as much as you can. And obviously we're only here for like whatever time, so you might as well enjoy it if it's something you do more than anything else. And enjoying the hard times is the hardest part. But there's definitely a me in there sometimes where like I just see the absurdity in it. I'm like, man, I've just lost aces versus ace king again. That's really sick. And it's just gone. You let it go. And yeah, it happens for 3 months straight, and you're like, man, I need to leave the house and go for a walk because I'm holding on to it again. But it's just a cycle, and it comes and goes. Yeah, honestly, like I felt happy for my opponents before. That's the hardest mindset to get into. I've done it once or twice only, I would say, where I'm genuinely happy for them. A lot of time I'm trying to be happy for them, but I'm like, man, I would really like to have won that hand. But yeah, there is a world where that's possible. Like if you do nothing but work on your mindset off the table, that probably pays in dividends just for experiencing all how much poker sucks a lot of the time. And yeah, that's the nature of tournaments. Most of the time you lose. So yeah, I'm going to call it that. I might try and do another stream tomorrow to go through the main event, uh, which is on here too. And I wanted to review that at some point. Maybe if some of these hands are interesting, I might make some shorts or something. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed that. It probably went on for longer than I thought it would, but at least we got through all the hands. Uh, yeah, I appreciate all the messages and engagement to make me feel like I'm not speaking to a wall. But hopefully this stays on YouTube and people can go back and watch it as well, and there'll be at least something that's insightful or useful. Uh, X that off. So yeah, that's it. GG. Good luck. Try and run as good as I did when I was playing this tournament.